What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 7TG. Chapter 146. I remember something happy. Both admirals come out. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. As for Teach, after seeing Whitebeard utter the words, "The big secret treasure is real," before his death in the comics, the whole person is excited. Sure enough, my dream will never end, thief ha 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 ha. After laughing wildly, Teach suddenly realized that the timing was wrong, so he stopped laughing quickly. However, it was too late, and the three of Marco stared at Teach uncomfortably, and gradually formed a tendency to surround him. Marco asked coldly, "Teach, what were you laughing at?" "No. Nothing. Couldn't you be happy to see Daddy dead?" Sage wrenched his knuckles, his expression so gloomy. "I'm wronged, three captains, just now I just suddenly remembered something happy," Teach tried to explain. At this moment, Teach wanted to slap himself twice. Why couldn't he control his mouth? However, Teach doesn't realize that he himself is a Zhongshan wolf who becomes rampant when he gets his way. Dad is ridden to death, you can still think of happy things, do you still have Dad in your eyes? Namur had a straight face, and his voice was hoarse and deep. Oh. Teach just wanted to explain, but Marco interrupted the former's sophistry. "If you still respect your father, then obediently let him go, we will hand you over to the old district for punishment. Of course, if you want to run, I will give you this chance now." Marco pointed to the sea, indicating that Teach could run away at any time. Teach's dark eyes rolled around, his heart was at war with heaven and man. He glanced at the sea, then at Marco who was standing still, and instantly gave up this unrealistic idea. Marco can fly, Namur is good at water, where does he teach? If he really ran away, wouldn't he directly confirm the authenticity of the comics? Until then, he is really finished. Captain Marco, I just thought of something happy, so I couldn't hold it back. I'm willing to kill him to prove my innocence and my heart to my father. As he spoke, Teach stretched out his hands, as if he was letting the king pick and choose. Marco and the others looked at each other when they saw this. None of them expected that Teach would be so straightforward, and he would be caught without a fight, without any intention of resisting. Immediately, Marco found a pair of seastone handcuffs from the cabin, handcuffed Teach, locked him in a dark room under the cabin, and placed him under house arrest. Captain Marco, what if Teach escapes? Back on the deck, Sage was still a little worried. As the saying goes, the depth of love is the depth of hate. On weekdays, the relationship between Sachi and Teach is undeniable, but the more this is the case, the more difficult it is for Sachi to accept Teach's betrayal. Sikong Ye's analysis of Baituan is not wrong, they are a group of people who value love and righteousness. Because of this, once they were asked to choose between Teach and Daddy, most of them would choose Daddy instead of Teach. Seeing Sax and Namur looking at him, Marco shook his head. He ran away just to prove the authenticity of the comics. In fact, Marco is still unwilling to believe in the authenticity of the comics, not to mention that Teach has done nothing so far. It's just that I just saw that in the comics, the old man died to save him, and many brothers who drank and ate meat with him also died in Naval Headquarters Marineford, which made him very disturbed. As a result, Teach laughed out loud at this critical point, completely detonating his anger. He gave Teach the chance to escape just now, not as a test, but because he really intended to let Teach go. If Teach runs away, then the brothers will be separated from each other, and they will be strangers ever since. However, Teach didn't run away, which made Marco a little bit at a loss. He didn't know that Teach didn't run away, he was just worried that this was a game, so he did the opposite. Loguetown waters. 6 marine warships lined up side by side. On the 2 warships in the middle, each sits an admiral wearing a marine cloak. Admiral on the left is wearing a yellow striped suit and sunglasses with a wretched face. It is Marine Admiral Kizaru Bluzolino. At this moment, Kizaru is sitting with his legs crossed under the awning trimming his fingernails, as if his fingernails are not round enough to affect his speed. Admiral on the right is wearing a white straight suit, leaning on a recliner, wearing a pair of eye masks, and seems to be dozing off. This admiral is obviously Aokiji Kuzan, a marine admiral who implements lazy justice, and will squint for a while when he has nothing to do. Among the other 4 warships, 3 were driven by Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral, and on the bow of a small warship on the far right stood an arrogant man with 2 cigars in his mouth. If Sikong Yi is here, he must be recognized as Captain Marine Smoker who guarded the town of Rog during the East Blue chapter of the original book. At this time, Kizaru stood up suddenly, said something to the adjutant beside him, and then the adjutant connected the phone bugs on the other 5 warships. After a while, the commanders of the remaining 5 warships came to the Kizaru warship. 6 people gathered and stood at the bow of the ship, including 2 admirals, 3 vice admirals, and a colonel. The rest of the adjutants and sailors stayed away from the bow, in case they heard something they shouldn't know. Yo, it's all here. As soon as Kizaru opened his mouth, he was an old hermaphrodite who graduated from Dungchang, and the rest of the 5 people almost got goosebumps when they heard it. Aokiji yawned and asked, "Why did you call us here?" Although the pheasant is also admiral, but because Kizaru is a few years older than Aokiji, the seniority is relatively old, The mission was arranged by Marshal Sengoku to Kizaru Paluzolino. We're about to arrive in Loguetown soon. As the commander-in-chief, if you don't explain some things, I'm afraid the marshal will deduct your salary when you go back. Kizaru said lightly, stroking his stubble. When Aokiji heard this, he knew there was nothing wrong with him. So he was silent. Mr. Kizaru, what is the task you want to entrust to us? The man who spoke was a mustache man with many scars on his face and neck. This person is Doberman Vice Admiral, one of the 3 accompanying Vice Admirals. Not long ago, the auction of Doflamingo was disrupted by a pirate named Gilder Tetsolo. He found 5 elders, and 5 elders pushed the matter to Marine. It's really troublesome. Now that we have found out that Tezolo has been haunting the town of East Blue Rog, the task of arresting Tezolo is entrusted to you 3. Asking for flowers. Kizaru roughly explained the ins and outs. The tone revealed dissatisfaction with the 5 elders. Huashaoshan Vice Admiral, who came with Doberman, held a cigar in his mouth, and asked doubtfully, it's just to arrest 1 Tezolo, so there shouldn't be 3 Vice Admirals dispatching together? That's right, a Tezolo naturally doesn't need you to go to war, but I heard that the 3 captains of the Whitebeard pirates are in East Blue, and they have been to Loguetown before. Hearing Kizaru mention this matter, everyone suddenly realized, and after realizing it, they became furious. The colonel who was guarding Loguetown at the beginning, after learning of the attack of the Whitebeard pirates, actually abandoned the city and fled, which made Marine lose face. Speaking of which, this time Smoker came to East Blue to take over the position in Loguetown, and the 3 Marine chiefs subconsciously looked at Smoker. There was no change on Smoker's face. He was smoking 2 cigars. It seemed that otherwise he would not be able to reflect his self-cultivation as a smoke fruit ability user. When Huashaoshan saw that Smoker was smoking 1 more cigar than him, the corner of his mouth twitched, but he didn't say anything. He doesn't care how many cigars people smoke, that's the other party's freedom. So, our task is not only to arrest Tezolo, but also the White Tuan henchman? The ghost spider asked with an extremely ferocious expression. No, Marshal Sengoku's suggestion is not to provoke them easily for the time being. Our main mission this time is the Avengers. You guarding Loguetown can effectively prevent the remnants from going to the Grand Line. Kizaru explained, and after explaining some details, he and Aokiji's warship continued to sail towards the kingdom of Goa. And the 3 Vice Admiral and Smoker are heading towards the town of Rog. On Kizaru's warship, Aokiji and Kizaru chatted with each other. Recently, East Blue is very lively. The Golden Soldiers blooming thousands of miles, the perception of Dugu Kendo, the Avengers incident, the fall of the Weilong people, the lion hunting battle, the appearance of the group, and the internet. Aokiji sighed, but Kizaru looked indifferent. These are trivial matters, and it stands to reason that Mr. Garp can handle it by himself. Mr. Garp must be very busy. Who knows, but I am very interested in the internet. It is said that the internet can be connected to the brain, where you can visit forums and chat with people from all over the world. Kizaru is very envious. If he can spend time after work, it would be a special flavor. It's a pity that he was not in East Blue at that time, and even if he entered East Blue now, he would have no chance to be qualified to join the internet. I heard Mr. Garp say on the phone yesterday that a new software has been released on the internet called the Location app, and location sharing can be performed by enabling location sharing. Aokiji also has a great curiosity about the internet, not only software, but also the manga about the Whitebeard pirates. He really wanted to see the Summit war plot in the comics. Both Kizaru and Aokiji are very clear about the influence of the internet on this ocean, and once the internet goes out of East Blue, it will bring tremendous changes to the world. Chapter 147 The Qing Dynasty is self-cleaning. Zoro says that he is a Buddhist. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Loguetown Harbor. The appearance of the 4 warships shocked the residents of the town. Since the execution of the One Piece King Luojia, they have never seen such battles again. As a result, many people speculated whether another big pirate was about to be executed. In the crowd, Tashigi and Kebi, 2 Marine fans, stared unblinkingly at the Marines who came down from the warship one by one, admiring their heroic figures. Zoro didn't bother to complain about these 2 bastards who didn't hide their admiration for Marine at all. When he saw so many Marines suddenly appearing in the port of Loguetown, he realized something was wrong and hurriedly contacted the captain. Open black lens bracket Zoro. At Tuanzu, Captain, something is wrong. A group of Marines came from Loguetown. Listening to the people around, it seems that there are 3 elite vice admirals from naval headquarters among them. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket group leader. Zoro, did they say what they are doing in East Blue? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. I don't know, but there should be some secret mission in this battle. Close black lens bracket. Group leader. You should hide first, don't be discovered by Marine Vice Admiral. Their strength should not be underestimated. If I fall into their hands, I can only wait until they are strong before advancing. Thank you. Close black lens bracket on the 303 Emperor Star. After Sikong Ye replied to Zoro's message, he fell into deep thought. 3 Marine Vice Admirals, for Buggy's Avengers, Whitebeard Pirates, or Lords of the Internet? But no matter which one it is, the current Loguetown is a minefield for pirates, and if they enter rashly, the entire army may be wiped out. But don't go, Not to mention that Zoro, Kabi and Tashigi are still in the town at the moment. He plans to recruit Bartolomeo and has to go to Loguetown. There is no way around this town. Regardless of Marine's goals, the Avengers killing the Celestial Dragons will certainly be the #1 target of Marine's purge. At this moment, Sikong Yi felt a strong sense of urgency. After finding Kuina who was training, Sikong Yi called the former to the side and said, "Go and tell those heroic spirits that from now on, except for the core members, all the rest will be scattered throughout East Blue, and I will clean up the evils in the entire East Blue." Sikong Yi looked calm, but what he said made Kuina feel extremely crazy. "Captain, are you sure? Now East Blue has 3 vice admirals, and you still let them cast a net all over East Blue, aren't you afraid to play it off?" However, Sikong Yi has made up his mind. "The only thing we need to do now is to make things bigger, so that Marine won't bother to trouble us. We'll take Zoro and the others back and recruit another partner. We'll leave East Blue immediately." After listening to Sikong Yi's plan, Kuina pondered for a long time, then nodded and agreed, and entered the sub-ship group to start sending tasks to Crow, Zangao, Buggy and Elvita. And Sikong Yi contacted Zoro again and asked him to help find a grass-green coxcomb boy named Bartolomeo. After receiving the mission, Zoro secretly left the port with Tashigi and Kirby and ran towards the center of Loguetown. Walking through the busy street, the 3 children kept asking if they had seen a young man with grass-green hair. Most of the passers-by shook their heads, indicating that they had never seen this person before. Some passers-by who liked to joke pointed to Zoro and said, "Aren't you the grass-green-haired boy?" Zoro. Kebi was worried that Zoro would be hit, so he clenched his fists and continued to encourage him. "Brother Zoro, don't be discouraged, we will definitely find that boy named Bartolomeo and complete the mission assigned to us by the captain. But there are so many people, where can we find them?" Tashigi squatted on the corner of the street, looking at the hurrying passers-by, feeling like his eyes were going to melt. Zoro felt that this was too slow, and proposed to split up, but this proposal was rejected by Washiki before he finished speaking. "This girl doesn't want to wait and spend time looking for you." "What do you mean by that? How many times have I told you that I'm not a road idiot?" Zoro argued with a blushing face. Yes, you are not a road idiot, you just can't tell the left from the right. You. Okay, can you stop arguing? Our top priority now is to find Bartolomeo." Kebi came out to smooth things over again, and he couldn't remember how many times this was. Since Tashigi and Zoro escaped from the Garp warship, they have been arguing over the issue of Lukai no less than 100 times. Call out. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared beside Zoro. The keen Zoro subconsciously drew his knife and slashed, but when he was only 3 centimeters away from his neck, the magic knife Qian Ren stopped. Zoro was speechless. "I said, Captain, can you stop appearing quietly by my side every time?" Sikong Yi rolled his eyes, and gently moved the blade away with his fingers. "Can you stop drawing the knife at every turn?" "Why are you here?" Zoro skipped the topic just now and asked Sikong Yi why. "I'm worried that you will get lost and walk into the Marine branch, attracting Marines to hunt you down, so I'll come and have a look." Sikong Yi thought about it for a long time on the Emperor Star, but in the end he was still worried about Zoro, so he immediately used an ultra-distance ship to send him to Loguetown. After answering Zoro, Xuankong Yoruichi floated on top of Zoro with Yumi's shipling. Sitting on Zoro's head, there is a feeling of being in the savannah. Tashigi and Kebi were amazed at the captain's strange tricks, and the little girl Tashigi thought the miniature version of Sikong Yi was super cute, and wanted to let Sikong Yi sit on her head. However, she is not too familiar with Sikong Yi, so she is embarrassed to speak. "I'm not a road idiot. Forget it, whatever you say, the clean one clears itself." After this period of precipitation, Zoro has become a lot more Buddhist. "Now I don't bother arguing about Lukai. Sikong Yi. Tashigi. 11 Kirby. A good one clears himself." "You really don't have any numbers in your heart." Sikong Yi didn't want to continue this topic, and directly ordered the 3 of them to look for those more down-and-out streets in the town. Bartolomeo is a gangster. Basically there will be no other person in the bustling central area, but the other party may be in the corner of the alley. The 4 kept looking for Bartolomeo, and Tashigi would find Sikong Yi from time to time to find out some news about the Z-Way pirates. With such an obvious cliché, Sikong Yi naturally couldn't say everything, but picked out some information that didn't need to be concealed and told Tashigi. At the same time, Sikong Yi is also secretly checking the attributes of Tashigi and Kebi. Potential partner, Tashigi. Available positions, breaking the army. Assessment of combat power, F class, included features, none. Potential partner, Kebi. Available position, Team 7 kills. Assessment of combat power, F class, included features, none. The strength of the 2 of them can't be put on the stage at all. After all, they're young, and they don't have a caring captain to continue their cheats. How strong can they be? But Sikong Yi doesn't plan to give them devil fruit and boarding gift bags for the time being. He doesn't want to raise 2 white-eyed wolves who are not familiar with them. Only after letting the ship's heart fully infect their thoughts, and letting them understand the gap between having a gift and not having a gift, can they return to their hearts by providing fruits and gift bags. As for the two Marine fans, Tashigi and Kabi, it is estimated that only Colonel Mouse, the rat shit in Marine, can help. This is also the main reason why Sikong Yi let Colonel Mouse go before. Did you hear that 3 naval headquarters vice admirals are coming to our town of Rog? Really? Can I still lie to you? They landed at the port just now. That Marine uniform is really handsome. I want to be a Marine when I grow up. How majestic it is. Just as Sikong Yi and the others wandered into a small alley, 2 7 or 8-year-old kids in normal clothes were chatting about Marine in front of them. Their little faces were flushed with excitement, and their eyes were full of admiration. Sikong Yi and Zoro didn't react much. They were not the kind of stingy people. They wouldn't fight just because others praised Marine. As for Tashigi and Kebi, they stared at the two children with the eyes of the same kind, with a gratified expression that can be taught by children. Bang bang. Ouch. It hurts. Suddenly, 2 small stones hit the bodies of the 2 children of 3.0, and the 2 children could not help but howl. Little ones, hit me. I will beat them until they dare not be Marines again. At the corner of the alley, a group of 13 or 14-year-old boys came out, the leader of whom had a grass-green coxcomb head. He is about 1.85 meters tall, has eye lines painted under his right eye, wears a nose ring, looks like a ghost, has a black winged half-ring tattoo on his chest, wears a purple coat with a skull pattern on the back and plaid trousers, and wears it on his waist a short sword. Typical gangster. Especially the appearance of putting his hands in his pockets and walking with a foreign character that his relatives do not recognize, it can be said to be extremely arrogant. I am afraid that in today's world, there is only Doflamingo's pace, which can barely surpass this coxcomb-headed boy. Hey, how can you hit someone? Seeing that the gangsters were about to make a move, Tashigi suddenly couldn't get used to it, stepped forward to stand in front of the 2 children, and questioned the group of gangsters in front of him. However, the coxcomb-headed boy picked his nostrils, looked at no one, and directly ordered his subordinates. This woman likes justice so much, she must be a Marine material in the future. Let's fight together. Yes. Those punks echoed repeatedly. Chapter 148. Bardo joins the crew. Captain, please be yourself. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Kebi saw that Tashigi was in trouble, so he stood up and blocked Tashigi. Even though his legs were trembling, he didn't let him take a step back, and said weakly, "Stop. If you want to hit you, hit me, don't hit my sister." Ji Guantu became interested when he heard the words, and looked wantonly at the boy with pink hair and glasses. The sun came out from the west today. Why do you all like to do what is right? You guys obey the order and beat this guy to death. Senior Sikong to death. And Senior Zoro. At a glance, Ji Guantu happened to see Zoro and the shrunken version of Sikong Yi above Zoro's head, and the whole person became excited instantly. Hearing this special address, Sikong Yi frowned and checked the other party's attributes. Potential partner, Bartolomeo. Available position, Team Greedy Wolf. Assessment of combat power, F+ level. Inherent features, barrier fruit. Ho, at present, Bartolomeo is only 13 or 14 years old, so he actually ate the fruit of the barrier known as invincible defense so early? Jumping off Zoro's head, Sikong Ye asked with a smile, "Do you recognize me?" "Recognize. I are your loyal fans." Coxcomb blushed, looking like a young girl Whitechun. Seeing this, Sikong Yi can be sure that the Ziwei pirates have replaced the Straw Hat pirates and gained the worship of Bartolomeo. This will be easy, and the recruitment of Bartolomeo will be smoother than expected. "What's your name?" Sikong Yi asked knowingly. "My name is Bartolomeo." 14. Well, Bardo, would you like to join our Ziwei pirates? Sikong Yi immediately threw out an olive branch. He can't wait to recruit Bartolomeo, his #1 fan, and leave Rog with his crew. "Really, I am willing." Bartolomeo agreed very readily, with a red face and a bewildered look, just like a little girl in love. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The 13th ring has been completed. Please choose devil fruit. Option 1. Sword fruit. Option 2. Muscle fruit. Option 3. Cats and fruits. Looking at the system prompt, Sikong Yi didn't rush to make a choice, and planned to wait until he left Rog Town before thinking about it. Tashigi, who was watching from the beginning to the end, instantly realized that the person Sikong Yi was going to recruit before was the grass-green coxcomb head Bartolomeo. But when she thought of Bartolomeo's various actions just now, she suddenly became angry. "Hey, let me tell you, how can you choose the crew at will? This person is unreliable at first glance, and he beat someone just now. It's too bad." Tashigi tried to discredit Bartolomeo. Bartolomeo saw this scene and understood that both Tashigi and Kebi are new members of the Ziwei pirates. And because of his behavior just now, he had a bad impression on him. So Bartolomeo quickly explained to Sikong Yi and others. "What happened just now was not what you thought. I taught them a lesson because I admired Senior Sikong. As long as one of these brats can't be a Marine in the future, there will be one less Marine team to arrest Senior Sikong." After listening to Bartolomeo's explanation, Sikong Yi and Zoro were a little speechless, but Tashigi was not happy. "What happened to Dang Marine? Dang Marine ate your rice. Are you going to do this to them?" Bartolomeo was confused and turned to look at Sikong Yi. "Senior Sikong, Why is she not happy that I helped the Z-Way pirates eliminate potential enemies? Could it be an undercover agent sent by Marine? Hearing the word, undercover, Ince realized his current identity. She is a crew member of the Z-Way pirates, and she is currently a pirate. How can she angrily reprimand the friendly troops who helped the Z-Way pirates? Kebi wiped the sweat from his forehead, saying that I really can't move this teammate. Don't worry, she's young and her background is fairly clean. Sikong Yi replied lightly, without getting too entangled in the undercover issue. Strictly speaking, he is also Marine's undercover agent. And from now on, Bartolomeo is also Marine's undercover agent. Badur, since you joined our Z-Way pirates, let's get ready to go. The town of Rog is not peaceful recently, and staying for a second longer will increase the risk of our pirates. It's just that after Bartolomeo finished listening, he was silent for a while. Sikong Yi noticed the abnormality, saw Bartolomeo's shy posture, and then remembered that the latter seemed to have a grandmother who cared for him very much and a group of younger brothers who were loyal to him. If these people are not settled properly, I am afraid that Bartolomeo will not leave Rog Town with peace of mind, right? Sikong Yi thought about it, and Kuina obviously didn't need to intervene in this matter. And Kuina came forward, which means that the Emperor Star must be close to the town of Rog. After all, he still cannot escape this invisible Uzumaki. Bado, you must be reluctant to part with your relatives and friends in the town. During this time, you should reunite with your family first, and when we are about to leave, we will notify you to gather at the port. Although the town of Rog looked like a storm was coming, Sikong Yi still couldn't bear to take Bartolomeo away. Senior Sikong, you are so kind to me, ah. Bartolomeo was moved and cried instantly, and the other punks also cried and congratulated their boss for finding a better boss. Seeing this scene, Tashigi couldn't connect the crying boy with the arrogant gangster before. Saying goodbye to Bartolomeo, Sikong Yi took Zoro and the three to find a remote hotel. After paying the rent for 3 days, the four chose to stay in a relatively remote corner on the 5th floor. It will take at least 3 days for the Emperor Star to reach the town of Rog. During this time Sikong Yi plans to stay in the hotel and not go out. However, sometimes you don't look for trouble, and trouble will follow you. Not long after the four of Sikong Yi checked in, Smoker surrounded the entire hotel with a group of sailors, declaring that they would check the room. Marine's battle caught the attention of all the residents upstairs. Zoro, Kebi and Tashigi also heard the voice from downstairs, and they all ran to Sikong Yi's room, anxiously. What should we do? What should we do? I don't want to be caught. Kebi panicked. Even though he was in jail, Mr. Garp could release him on bail, but then his undercover mission would fail. Tashigi's face is also not good looking. She hasn't even boarded the Emperor Star, and the mission is about to fail. Mr. Garp will definitely not arrange difficult missions for her in the future. Captain, how about we fight out? Zoro suggested. Sikong Yi gave Zoro a blank look. Aren't you afraid that you want to eat ass, bring 2 oil bottles and still want to break out of the encirclement? In case the 3 vice admirals are offended, we have nowhere to fall here. It doesn't take much trouble, we just pretend to be ordinary kids. As Sikong Yi said, he summoned the venom suit to cover his whole body, and the next moment, Sikong Yi became another person. Black hair and black eyes, handsome features, although only 10 years old, but quite a noble temperament. Afterwards, Sikong Yi separated a small amount of venom from his body and attached it to Zoro's body surface. As the skin squirmed, Zoro turned into a quiet and beautiful little girl. A head of long green hair danced gently, looking pure and elegant. Gulu. Kirby swallowed, his eyes straightened. Seeing Kebi's nympho, Zoro was still nympho to him, and immediately got angry, and kicked the wall so hard that he almost couldn't get it off. Don't look at me like that, bastard. And what do you mean, Captain? Why do you turn me into a woman? Shish 227, Zoro, keep your voice down so that no one can hear you. Sikong Yi quickly covered Zoro's mouth, lowered his voice to remind, and then explained. We 3 boys and 1 girl are so awkward in a room. You pretend to be a girl, 2 men and 2 women look much more normal? Zoro. Normal shit. You are very bad old man. You just want to turn me into a woman on purpose. What kind of stupid reason did you find? Seeing that Zoro didn't believe him, Sikong Yi felt helpless. He really thought 9-year-old Zoro was cute, so he subconsciously turned him into a girl. Boom boom boom. Marine routine search, please open the door. The Marine's tone outside was quite friendly. Sikong Yi put Zoro's 3 knives into the system space, then walked slowly to the door and opened it. When Sikong Yi saw the figure holding 2 cigars in front of him, his pupils suddenly shrank. Smoker. How did this guy end up in East Blue? Is it a little early now? Could it be another change caused by the butterfly effect? You 4 live together. Smoker couldn't help wondering when he saw 2 men and 2 women living in the same room. The officer was joking. They live next door and they came here to visit. Sikong Yi smiled foolishly, and then asked Smoker, Sir, are you Marine from Rog Town? Why haven't I seen you before? I'm new to the job. Smoker didn't introduce much, and waved for 2 sailors behind him to search Sikong Yi's room, while he asked for the names of the 4 people. My name is Stussy, and these 3 are Sophia, Kruby, and Dayton. Sikong Yi made up a few names casually. Zoro, Kirby, Tashigi, Captain, please be human. Look at what names you take. Chapter 149. Missing person announcement. The frog in the bottom is actually myself. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. The two sailors searched Sikong Yi's room carefully, and after confirming that there was nothing abnormal, they returned. Smoker took out a reward order from his pocket and placed it in front of Sikong Yi, asking, "Have you ever seen the person on the reward order?" "This person is." After seeing the appearance on the reward order, Sikong Yi was shocked. "Isn't this the Golden Emperor Tesolo?" "No. Now Tesolo doesn't have the golden fruit, so he can no longer be called the Golden Emperor." "Gilder Tetsolo, Marine's most wanted criminal, we have received information that this person is currently hiding in Loguetown, and there is information that this person has stayed at this hotel." Smoker roughly explained that the main purpose is to increase the public's awareness of prevention and vigilance, which is quite responsible. "So that's how it is. I haven't seen it. If I see it, will I be rewarded for reporting it?" Sikong Yi shook his head, and then made jokes. "Little friend, rewards are naturally indispensable. You are welcome to report anytime." Smoker goes through the process business fully, then proceeds to ring the next room, which happens to be Zoro's quarters. So Zoro shyly walked out of Sikong Yi's guest room, came to his own guest room, and opened the door for the sailors to inspect. Smoker, who was standing at the door, saw the former's twisted posture, and couldn't help wondering, "Suophia, are you unable to hold back?" "You can't hold back, old lady. Ah bah, I'm fine, don't worry about it." Zoro's immature rage made Smoker stagnate. This girl is so tough. After checking all the rooms in the hotel, Smoker couldn't find Tesolo, and he couldn't help feeling sorry. Apparently the other party had heard something and left early. Just when he was about to close the team and leave, a sailor suddenly walked up to Smoker and whispered something in his ear. Smoker's face darkened when he heard this, and he felt that the cigars in his mouth were no longer fragrant. He led a group of sailors back to the door of Sikong Yi's room. Knocking on the door, Sikong Yi opened the door and saw Smoker again, a little speechless. "Sir, what else do you need?" "I heard from my subordinates that the two children behind you are missing persons?" With a cold face, Smoker pointed to Tashigi and Kebi behind Sikong Yi. The sailor just now quietly told him that the missing person notices of Tashigi and Kebi had been sent to the Loguetown branch some time ago, and they were marked as key targets by the superiors. At that time, in order to find these two children, they spent a lot of effort searching the whole town. Later, I don't know if they found it or what happened, the superiors quickly cancelled the missing person notices of the two children. The sailor, who had participated in the search, still had a fresh memory of this, hesitated for a long time, and finally told Smoker the truth. Missing person. Sikong Yi was a little dazed at first, and then suddenly remembered that he asked Garp to help find Tashigi and Kebi. I dare to say that the old guy used this way to find people. This time it really messed him up. If he had known this, he might as well have changed Tashigi and Kirby just now. I thought Tashigi and Kebi would be safe without a reward order, but they were marked as missing persons and posted on the missing persons notice. And now, Smoker clearly sees him as a slave trader. The two of them were indeed missing for a while before. I posted the missing persons notice. Now that they have been found, I really want to thank Marine for her help. Sikong Yi spread out his hands, trying his best to appear calm and composed. It's just that Smoker didn't listen to Sikong Yi's one-sided words, and planned to bring several people back to the branch for interrogation separately. Naturally, Sikong Yi could not agree to this. "We didn't break the law. Why did you arrest us?" "It's not about arrest, but about interrogation." "I reject. If you don't cooperate, I will arrest you for obstruction." Seeing that Smoker refused to enter, he was determined to take them to the branch for a visit. Sikong Yi was really helpless at this moment. "Why don't you grab your Tesolo well? Want to trouble a bunch of kids?" But there is no way. Smoker has already set his sights on Tashigi and Kebi, two children who have appeared on the missing persons notice list, and he is also very innocently suspected by Smoker of becoming a slave trader. Now, the four of them were a little drunk. Sikong Yi and Zoro are undercover agents who have a cooperative relationship with Marine, while Kebi and Tashigi are regular undercover agents organized by Marine. Although the duties and undercover nature of the two parties are different, they are considered to be colleagues with Smoker, an old smoker. As a result, the teammate in front of him insisted on smashing them. $7.08. Sikong Yi smiled helplessly. "You forced me to do this." In an instant, Sikong Yi's venom suit covered his whole body and turned into a ferocious beast. Two tentacles wrapped around Tashigi and Kebi, and he jumped out from the window on the 5th floor without hesitation. Not to be outdone, Zoro jumped out after Sikong Yi. He was still in the air, and saw 3 knives flying towards him. Zoro waved to catch it, and turned around with a wave of sword energy. 3 swords tornado. After Zoro landed, he wanted to run away from Sikong Yi. Seeing this, Sikong Yi stretched out a black tentacle to wrap around Zoro's waist, pulled Zoro back, and ran towards the west. While running, Sikong Yi was also cursing and swearing in the direction of the hotel. "Smoker, you are crazy. If you want to chase Tesolo, you should concentrate on chasing him. Why do you have to come here to meddle in other things? Are you full?" Smoker dodged Zoro's sword energy, poked his head out of the destroyed wall, and just heard Sikong Yi's roar. His head was covered with black lines. I didn't care about Tesolo right away. Anyway, it was Shichibukai who offended Tesolo, so what's the matter with their marine? He had been unhappy with the task assigned to him by his superiors for a long time, and had long wanted to quit. Since Sikong Yi provoked him, he might as well go after Sikong Yi. HMPH, who am I? I didn't expect the captain of the Zwei pirates to be so arrogant. Smoker turned into smoke and rushed towards Sikong Yi. It was inconvenient for Sikong Yi to run with the two of them, and there were a lot of pedestrians on the ground, so he couldn't use his skills, and was gradually overtaken by Smoker. Venom Sikong Yi, with a bounty of 50 million Baileys, is famous in East Blue and even stole the body of the Golden Lion. Today, I, Smoker, will definitely arrest you. Smoker spoke righteously, and his figure had already floated behind Sikong Yi, and he was about to catch the ladder, but he saw that Venom punched him backhand. Shout, frog in the well, you probably don't know the elements of Logia devil fruit, poof. Before Smoker could finish his sentence, the iron pot's big fist hit him directly on the head, sending him into a nearby restaurant. Crackling. Smoker didn't know how many tables, chairs and benches he had crashed. At this moment, he is in a daze. What's going on? I was hit by someone? Still got shot? Smoker shook his head, slowly got up from the ruins, wiped the dust off his face, and looked extremely gloomy. Armament hockey. I didn't expect that an East Blue kid, a 10-year-old boy, would actually master hockey, which is common in the second half of the Grand Line. At this moment, Smoker felt an unprecedented setback. He is now in his 20s, and he is actually not as powerful as a 10-year-old boy. It turned out that the frog with the bottom was actually myself. So what about hockey? Pirates are a group of criminals who do all kinds of evil. No matter how strong you are, I will arrest you. Making up his mind, Smoker chased after him again. The street chase lasted for nearly 10 minutes. Since the town of Rog was full of Marine's eyeliner, no matter where Sikong Yi and his party went, they could not escape Smoker's pursuit. I can't go on like this. Sikong Yi is not afraid of Smoker, and it is not a problem to beat the latter with his strength. However, there is an old saying that goes well, you hit the young ones and the old ones. If he solves Smoker, he will instead have 3 Marine Vice Admirals. Sikong Yi does not know who the Vice Admirals who came to Rogtown are, but if they are hawks, then it will really end badly. Who doesn't know that hawks are dogs? Bite anyone you see. Running wildly all the way, Sikong Yi didn't know how many buildings he crashed, but it certainly couldn't be counted on his head, who made Smoker run to catch him full of food. Clang. Just knocking down the wall of a tavern, Sikong Yi was about to turn into another street with his partner, but suddenly found a familiar face. Gray-green hair, purple sunglasses, isn't this Tesolo, the most wanted criminal Smoker is looking for all over Rogtown. At this moment, Tesolo was sitting on the wine table on the side of the wall, drinking a small wine, slightly drunk, and had no awareness of being wanted at all. Sikong Yi stopped in his tracks and looked at the culprit who caused them to run away all over the street. Seeing that the venom had stopped, Zoro quickly stopped the car so as not to hit the venom suit. Seeing the captain stop, Tashigi and Kirby vomited on the floor before breaking free from the venomous tentacles. The speed of the venom was so fast that it made them dizzy. After Tashigi recovered a little, he raised his head and noticed Tesolo's figure, and exclaimed. Tesolo, isn't this the wanted criminal that Marine is chasing? Sure enough, there is nothing good about people with green hair. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be chased all over the street by Marine. Tashigi gave Tesolo a vicious look. However, these words made Zoro, who was lying on the gun for no reason, unhappy. Hey, you woman, don't shoot the map cannon. Chapter 150 Tesolo inhales secondhand smoke and chases out of Rogtown. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Changjian Ji Tang Changjian Guan Rakuten Travel HK, 1,158 Hong Kong dollars Rakuten Travel, Ri Ben Xing Ne Ling Xian Wang Shanglu Xing Shi. Am I wrong? You and that guy named Bardo or Romeo are not good people. This Tesolo is also a wanted man. The 3 green hairs that Tashigi saw in Rogtown today are not good birds. Tashigi, what you said is wrong. How can you judge people by their appearance? We also have a green-haired girl named Makino on board. Sikong Yi tried to correct Tashigi's concept. Although I know that Tashigi is just talking in anger, but the correction has to be corrected. Oh, Tashigi murmured. At this moment, Smoker also broke into the king of the tavern. He was still a little puzzled when he saw Sikong Yi and others stop, but he was a little surprised when he saw Tesolo. Didn't expect to meet the wanted target like this. Seeing that Smoker was sticking to him like brown sugar, Sikong Yi hurriedly evacuated towards the back door of the tavern. Before leaving, he said to Smoker, Smoker, your target has been found, don't come to trouble us again. However, what Sikong Yi didn't expect was that Smoker didn't look at Tesolo at all, and chased in the direction where Sikong Yi was evacuating. Don't try to run, I said I would catch you, so I must catch you. Damn it, you crazy. Why do you keep staring at me, a little pirate, if you don't follow orders from your superiors? Sikong Yi was a little crazy. At this time, Smoker is young and energetic, and it is the most irritable stage. The orders of his superiors are nothing to him, and he only needs to go all out to implement the justice in front of him. However, Smoker is not the kind of irresponsible Marine who let the criminals go wild. He ordered the Marine who followed behind to be responsible for arresting Teso, while he went all out to hunt down Yi. Teso, who was sitting in the tavern drinking alone, blinked his eyes, his face full of confusion. What happened today? A bunch of brats came to attack him, and a Colonel Marine passed by him but turned a blind eye. Am I, Teso, shameless? Wait, why does that dark figure look familiar? Teso thought about it, and suddenly remembered that he had seen the appearance of that black monster on the reward order. It's just that the photo on the reward order is half Sikong Yi and half Venom. Hey, Zwei Pirates, I'm finally waiting for you. Teso hiccuped and chased after Smoker in the direction he left. He's been at East Blue for a while, too. Due to the unfamiliar place and the erratic nature of the Zwei Pirates, Teso moved into Loguetown early and waited for the Zwei Pirates to come to his door. However, this wait is more than a month. If he added the time from Sabayati Archipelago to East Blue, he had already wasted 2 months on Zwei Pirates. The famous sword, the devil fruit of the Phantom Beast, and the talents of this boat, Teso, accepted it bluntly, ha 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 ha. After Teso chased out of the tavern, the rest of the sailors looked at each other in blank dismay, and finally chased after him. As a result, strange scenes appeared in the streets and alleys of Loguetown. Sikong Yi and his team of 4 ran on the front and rampage, Smoker turned into smoke followed closely, Teso followed Smoker and smoked secondhand smoke, and finally a group of fully armed sailors chased desperately. For a time, the whole town of Rog was rioted by this group of people. Word soon spread to the Loguetown branch. The 3 headquarters, Vice Admiral, are meeting at the moment to carry out combat deployment, in case any fish slipped through Loguetown and headed for the Grand Line. Of course, try to prevent the Whitebeard pirates from coming to make trouble. Boom boom boom. At this time, the door of the meeting room was knocked, and the 3 Vice Admirals frowned. After some deliberation, Vice Admiral let the summoner come in. Report to the 3 Vice Admirals, Colonel Smoker is arresting Ziwei and his gang, causing a lot of trouble in the town. Before the messenger could finish his sentence, Vice Admiral, a grumpy ghost spider, slapped the conference table. Such a trivial matter needs to be reported to us. But Colonel Smoker has been unable to catch Ziwei and his gang. The messenger shrank his neck and explained in a low voice. It's really outrageous. I asked him to search for Teso. He ran to arrest Ziwei and his gang, but they still haven't caught them yet. The ghost spider was furious when he learned that Smoker was such a good for nothing. The hair behind him moves automatically without wind, just like a real spider. Doberman was much calmer than the violent ghost of the ghost spider. He looked at the messenger with a solemn expression, and confirmed to the latter whether the information was true. The summoner dared not report falsely, every sentence was true, so he nodded repeatedly. When I was arranged by the captain to report, Teso was chasing after Smoker to smoke secondhand smoke. What? How did Teso come after Smoker? The ghost spider was confused. Didn't they let Smoker go after Teso, and now their identities are reversed? This Smoker really doesn't do any personnel work at all. No wonder Marshal Sengoku demoted him to the small place of East Blue. Rubbing the mustache around his mouth, Doberman took a deep breath and sighed with emotion. The most wanted target, Teso, followed behind and didn't catch him. Instead he was obsessed with catching a little pirate. Such an idle character really needs to be tempered. Why is Teso chasing Smoker? Hua Xiaoshan pondered for a while, smoking a cigar, and asked the messenger. We are not very sure about this. Our captain suspected that Teso was drunk. He might want to smoke a cigarette to calm down, but the cigarette was gone. It just so happened that Colonel Smoker, B.I., has the ability to smoke fruit, so. The summoner kept talking more and more quietly, as if he himself felt that this reason was nonsense. Doberman. Ghost Spider. Hua Xiaoshan. So you're going to say that Teso wants to smoke Smoker? In the end, Hua Xiaoshan answered the question. No, I'm not telling a bad joke. Our captain thinks that Teso just wants to take a few puffs, and has no other meaning. The messenger hurriedly waved his hands and explained the general process. The 3 Vice Admirals waved back the messengers after hearing the words. If this messenger is my soldier, I will resign him on the spot. Doberman is obviously very dissatisfied with this messenger. However, the ghost spider went too far. If it is me, I will kill it directly. It's a good few, the messenger is just doing business, and the language organization ability is not good, so we don't need to bother with him. Let Smoker take care of these things. Hua Xiaoshan smoothed things over, and then asked the other 2 Vice Admirals for their views on the chase. There's no need to care about a few little kids, but Teso's strength is impressive, and Smoker may find it difficult to get benefits from the other party. At least one of us needs to send someone to support him. Doberman quickly set the tone for the chase. As for who to send, there is no need for Doberman to say. The ghost spider stood up by himself. Leave this matter to me. Why don't I go? Hua Xiaoshan said suddenly. He was really afraid that the ghost spider would not be able to hold back, so he took advantage of the situation and killed all the passers-by. That's not necessary. The ghost spider left the conference room directly with a few knives on its shoulders, obviously a vigorous and resolute person. On the streets of Loguetown, Sikong Yi got a little impatient at being chased, but he just couldn't get rid of this damned brown sugar. Before he knew it, Sikong Yi had already reached the edge of Loguetown, so he picked up Zoro, and 3 pairs of black wings appeared on his back, and he rose from the ground and flew high into the sky. However, since he brought several people with him, 3 pairs of wings didn't seem to be enough, so the venom sprayed out a flame from the bottom of his feet, temporarily stabilizing his flight. However, Smoker can also fly, and still chases after Sikong Yi. Teso, who was smoking secondhand smoke behind him, saw Ziwei pirates and others flying away from Loguetown, and immediately ran to the port to find his ship spirit Sikong Yi and chased him in the direction where he flew away. When the ghost spider found a group of sailors following Teso and inquired about the situation, he realized that he was 1 step late. Ziwei's gang, Smoker and Teso all left Loguetown. This immediately made the ghost spider unhappy, but it's not a good feeling. Their real goal this time is the Avengers, and Teso belongs to it by the way. So after a roar, Y-Spider arrived at the branch. The conversation was divided into 2 parts. Sikong Yi flew with a few people for a short time, and saw a pirate ship, and his eyes lit up immediately. It landed on the pirate ship immediately, and Smoker also chased it down. Sikong Yi and Smoker looked at each other and went straight to work without saying a word. It's a pity that Smoker doesn't know hockey, but Sikong Yi conquers hockey is gathered together, plus dark fruit, which can restrain any fruit, is completely restrained by Sikong Yi. Soon, Smoker was defeated. Sikong Yi took out the Seastone bracelet, restrained Smoker, clapped his hands, and threw it aside. Only then did he have time to look at the pirate ship he landed on. It doesn't matter if you look at it, Sikong Yi actually saw another acquaintance. Of course, this so-called acquaintance means that he knows the other party, but the other party does not necessarily know him. This person was wearing a gown with a red snake pattern, a green shirt inside, a striped scarf on his head, and crutches in his hands. It is the ghost agent who appeared in the sea restaurant Barati in the original book. However, before Sikong Yi said hello, Zoro immediately recognized the identity of the ghost agent. It's you. You are the pirate who escaped from me. He recalled that after beheading Creek on the west blue bank of Mount Corpo, the guy jumped into the water and ran away without saying a word. Chapter 151 The Fruit of the Clone, the body of the ghost Ajin. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 15.6 Kun Bai Ji Bu Xing Dian Now 15's FQ 5057 TU. HPHK. 5 Hong Kong dollars. 499 D12 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. Seeing that Sikong Yi was puzzled, Zoro told Sikong Yi all about the attack on the starship on the west blue shore of Corpo Mountain. After Sikong Yi finished listening, he finally sorted out the grievances between Zoro and Ajin. At that time, because the Golden Lion suddenly hijacked his partner, he completely forgot such small characters as the Creek Pirates. Didn't ask any questions afterwards. Scanning the top of Ajin's head, no attribute panel appeared. Obviously the other party was a potential partner who was not recognized by the system. I don't know if it's a problem of strength or a factor of hatred. But no matter what, since Ajin had attacked the Emperor Star under the command of Crick, he was the enemy of the Ziwei pirates. What's more, Zoro killed his benefactor in front of Ajin. Even if he appreciates Ajin again, Sikong Yi will definitely not let a person who has a grudge against the Ziwei pirates continue to live. Zoro, since I'm your acquaintance, I'll let you handle it. Sikong Yi looked indifferent. If pirates like Buggy, Crow, and Alvida are enemies purely because of struggle, he may consider making Ajin a heroic spirit. It's a pity that Ajin values love and righteousness, and since Zoro has planted the seeds of hatred, let Zoro personally send him on the road. Ghost Ajin, come and make a deal. Zoro looked at Ajin, and slowly pulled out the magic knife Qianran from its scabbard, but the latter jumped into the sea without looking back. Sikong Yi. No, is there such a thing as the ghost Ajin in his memory? It's also the title of ghost, so you can learn from the ghosts in the Hokage world next door and don't kill them. After all, they struggled hard in the end, and even if they died well. Then after thinking about it, he understood Ajin's operation. This guy obviously wants to try his luck. It seems that Crick's death caused Ajin to have deep resentment. Going overboard again? Do you think I'm going to make the same mistake twice? Zoro pulled out the kaleidoscopic with his left hand, manipulated it to become a silk thread and ejected, shot at Ajin who was thrashing in the sea, and pulled him back to the deck. Puff. With a knife. Zoro obviously didn't intend to give Ajin any chance. However, although Ajin's body was separated, the blood did not splash on the spot, but turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared without a trace. Sikong Yi frowned. Could this be some kind of devil fruit effect? Avatar fruit. Eating this fruit can condense the avatar. At first the avatar is just a phantom, and then it will turn into a real body. After that, it can speak and pass on memories. Even if it is developed to the awakened state, it is possible to differentiate the avatar without limit. Putting on the Seastone bracelet, Smoker sat up stubbornly, although his face looked weak, and after lighting 2 cigars for himself, he explained the principle of the clone fruit. After listening to Smoker's explanation, Sikong Yi finally understood the reason why Jin didn't speak before, and Ganshing's avatar could not reach the stage of speaking. This fruit is very interesting. If it is developed to the awakened state and has infinite clones, maybe it can form a pirate group by itself. Hey, I remember the previous ability user of the clone fruit, but he escaped 78 times from Mr. Zephyr. If it wasn't for the ability user at the end who took the initiative to jump out and die, Teacher Zephyr would never have found a chance to kill him. If your Z-Way pirates are being targeted by such a person, it is estimated that your relatives and friends will be slaughtered one by him. In the end, he will even destroy your pirates one by one. Smoker is not alarmist. He heard these news from Mr. Zephyr, and he did not exaggerate. In Naval Headquarters, the Rear Admiral, who was destroyed by the previous double fruit ability user, is still receiving psychological treatment. After listening to Smoker's description, Sikong Yi's face was gloomy. He didn't expect that the clone fruit was so disgusting. Hide the main body and arrange the clone to take revenge. This is exactly the same pattern as he arranged for the heroic spirit to carry out the assassination plan. It's a pity that Jin is destined to be an enemy, otherwise he might have a drink and chat with the other party. Although Kuina has bonded with the crew's friends and relatives, he doesn't want to see someone wield a butcher's knife against his crew's friends and relatives. Zoro's face was extremely ugly. After all, Agent escaped under his hands. He looked at the group of pirates and asked, "Does anyone know where the ghost man Jin's body is?" The pirates shrank, and one of the short pirates boldly explained, "We didn't know that the captain was a clone. Since he recruited us to board the ship, he has never heard the captain speak. It turns out that Jin is now the captain of your pirate group. Since he has never spoken, how did you communicate?" Sikong Yi asked back. He didn't believe that this group of pirates would join a dumb man. "We communicate in sign language, but the only person who can understand sign language is the vice captain, who usually gives orders." After listening to the testimony of the short pirate, Sikong Yi looked at the vice captain identified by the former, a middle-aged man with a fat head and big ears. The fat-headed man waved his hands again and again to defend himself. "The captain gave me a sum of money to act as an interpreter, and I was just a down-and-out little nobleman." Hearing this, Sikong Yi had to admire the opponent's watertight layout. Use the avatar to recruit pirates, and both avatars and pirates become knives in your hands. Of course, it is also an abandoned child. Venom, do you have information about the Ghostman agent in your internet user database, and can you locate the other party's body? Sikong Yi suddenly thought of locating app. If Jin joined the internet, then he could locate Jin's location. "Master, please wait a moment. Jin's login record has been found, and we are starting to locate. The specific location of the target is located, and the distance from the master is less than 10 meters. Sikong Yi was taken aback, and subconsciously looked up at the sky. It was still so blue, and he didn't notice any flying objects. "Not in the sky, is it in the cabin?" This time Sikong Yi was really shocked. He didn't expect Jin to stay with the body so bravely. "Isn't this blinding a devil fruit that is extremely life-saving?" Sikong Yi rolled his eyes and checked the layout of the entire pirate ship. It was soon discovered that apart from a few cabins on the surface of this pirate ship, there was a hidden compartment at the bottom of one of the cabins. Asking for flowers. Through the secret compartment, you can enter a secret passage. At this moment, Jin was lying in a narrow secret room at the end of the secret passage. The whole person curled up into a ball and soaked in a bucket of seawater, as if they wanted to use this method to isolate their breath. Sikong Yi said that observation hockey does not have the side effects of devil fruit. Although it is difficult to penetrate the seawater to detect distant scenes, it is because of the difference in density between seawater and air. But Agent soaked in the seawater with half of his head exposed, which didn't have the slightest effect at all. Venom, you attach yourself to Zoro and get rid of this group of pirates. Since they chose to protect the ghost agent, they should have corresponding awareness. As for Jin, beat him half to death first, and then catch and devour his devil fruit. The clone fruit is a good thing. Jin doesn't know how to use it, so I'll accept it. The venom was transferred to Zoro under the command of the master. Meanwhile, Zoro reverts to his male form during the fusion with Venom. Seeing this, Smoker opened his mouth. .0 He didn't expect that cute-looking girl from before to be a master of women's clothing. And this person he knows, it is the three-sword Shira Zoro who was offered a reward of 30 million by Marine. The venom controls Zoro and eats up the group of pirates who dare to lie to Sikong Yi in order to hide the identity of their own captain. Seeing such a bloody scene, Tashigi and Kebi vomited all over the deck in an instant, even vomited out the overnight meal. Their little faces were as white as paper. Even though they knew that the ones being eaten were all pirates, they were still frightened. Even the two of them faintly had the idea of retreating. Perhaps, being an ordinary Marine is also good, there is no need to be an undercover agent. You. Smoker was furious when he saw Venom's cruel behavior. He had never seen such a vicious pirate. Their captain has already united with us Z-Way pirates. How can I be worthy of my partner if I don't kill the grass and roots? Sikong Yi rolled his eyes. Isn't the circle of pirates just about fighting and killing? What's the fuss about? You Z-Way pirates have such terrifying strength at a young age. Once you grow up, it will definitely be a serious problem for Marine. I will never let you continue to do evil. For Smoker's clamor, Sikong Yi didn't pay attention at all. This guy didn't even master Conqueror's Haki, not to mention him, even Luffy could beat him. Ace and Nami, two Logia abilities, can almost fight Smoker for a few rounds without losing the wind. Smoke Fruit can't be regarded as the weakest Logia Devil Fruit, it's just that Smoker lowered the upper limit of Smoke Fruit abruptly. In the original book, Smoker didn't master Conqueror's Haki in his 30s, and now there are still 10 years before the original story begins, so one can imagine how weak Smoker is at this moment. Even if Smoker is working hard now, can he really catch up with the Z-Way pirates? Not long after, the Venom pulled a Jin out of the secret room. His nose was bruised and his face was swollen, and his body had broken countless bones, as if he had only half his life left. Chapter 152. Returning to the town of Rog, Admiral arrives in the kingdom of Goa, put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Although he only had half his life left, Ah Jin still muttered in his mouth, "Zoro, I will kill you. I will kill you." Venom threw Ah Jin on the deck and returned to Sikong Yi. The recovered Zoro stared at Sikong Yi with black lines all over his head. "Captain, can you stop entrusting me with this kind of dirty work next time? I feel a little nauseous when I think about it now." Ignoring Zoro's statement, Sikong Yi summoned a venom suit to cover his whole body, and then punched Ajin's head. Then used the power of darkness to explore the clone fruit in the opponent's body. Not long after, Lei Yi caught the target. With a thought, Sikong Yi took it into the system space, let this ray of demonic power rampage into space, and chose a suitable fruit to be reborn. "You are not a venom fruit user, you are a dark fruit ability user." Suddenly, Smoker seemed to have discovered some shocking secrets and exclaimed loudly. In fact, Smoker didn't know much about devil fruit and didn't know dark fruit at all before coming to East Blue. But after coming to East Blue, Smoker often heard people mention this special fruit. Later, he learned about the existence of 883 on the internet and comics from East Blue Marine, and also learned about the ambitious black fat man Teach. Naturally, he also remembers the dark fruit that can carry Teach's dream. Therefore, when he saw the venom probe reaching into Ah Jin's body to find something, he recognized it instantly. "No, I am the venom fruit, but the effect is very similar to dark fruit." Sikong Yi will not admit it. However, Smoker didn't take it seriously, instead he made a bold guess. Could it be that, like Teach, you have a special physique that can absorb multiple devil fruits? Sikong Yi's ability is somewhat different from the dark fruit described in the comics, and it may be some kind of unknown second devil fruit. Guess what? Sikong Yi does not have the duty to answer questions for free, and he does not want to continue communicating with Smoker. Otherwise it will only expose more. Since Sikong Yi and his team found a temporary pirate ship and eliminated the potential enemy, the Ghostman Ajin, they have been staying here and have never returned to Rog Town. For 3 days in a row, they drifted in the sea outside the town of Rog. As long as you pick up the pirate flag, pretend to be a fisherman, gag the Smoker and hide it in the bucket in the secret room, even if a warship passes by and searches, nothing will be found. Sikong Yi's side is relaxed, but the others are having a pretty bad time these days. After losing Z-Way's gang and Smoker that day, Teso went out to sea by boat and searched everywhere for traces of the two. However, Z-Way and his gang couldn't find it, but they made him meet a ghost spider who went out to patrol the sea. Naturally, the ghost spider would not let the duck with its beak go. After a crushing situation, Teso was successfully arrested and brought to justice. Originally, this was something to be happy about, but the real purpose of Ghost Spider's sea patrol this time is to find the missing Smoker. Although Teso was caught, Smoker was lost. If other colleagues know that Smoker has disappeared under their noses, where will their old faces be? So Rog went crazy and poured out a large number of troops to search for Smoker and Z-Way, but after 3 days there was no gain. It was noon. On the deck, Sikong Yi looked excitedly at the calm sea in front of him. Soon, the sea level began to rise, and then a huge metal monster was seen rising from the bottom of the sea. Seawater flows down the metal wall and the glass cover, and as the glass cover is slowly lifted, it becomes a battleship without sails. Sikong Yi drove the pirate ship under his feet, slowly approached the Emperor Star, set up a wooden ladder between the two pirate ships, and took Zoro, Kebi and Tashigi to the Emperor Star. After more than a month of adventure, I finally boarded the Superstar again, and it turns out that it feels so good to be home. When Zoro stepped on the Emperor Star, he felt indescribably relieved and relaxed. Ever since he was captured by the Golden Lion on the west blue shore of Mount Corpo, he has been running around and has never set foot on the Emperor Star lair. Now that he is back on the Emperor Star, Zoro is naturally overjoyed. It's just, why'd I always feel that the Emperor Star has grown up? Snapped. Sikong Yi knocked Zoro with a thud, and said angrily, "Are you an idiot? It took so long to see the change of the Emperor Star? How many times have I said, I'm not Lu, I'm not Luffy?" Zoro subconsciously retorted. Immediately, he realized that the captain didn't call him Luffy, but an idiot, so Zoro took advantage of the situation and said Luffy's name. Seeing Zoro moving out Luffy, Sikong Yi couldn't help curling his lips. In your eyes, Luffy is synonymous with idiots? Tashigi and Kebi walked down the wooden ladder to the Emperor Star, and were also amazed by this metallic pirate ship. A new look. Unique boat shape. Especially the moment they saw the Emperor Star surfaced with their own eyes just now, it completely caught all their attention. That scene was completely engraved in the hearts of the two undercover Marines. It's so cool. Kobe's eyes twinkled with little stars. Although Tashigi didn't speak, he was obviously not as calm as the surface, but the girl's reservedness didn't show her emotions. The moment Tashigi and Kebi boarded the ship, Sikong Yi received a system prompt at the same time. Ding! Trainee Tashigi is boarding, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. Fadian Yujian style. Option 2. Tegu 1 kill will kill. Option 3. Noble Phantasm Unlimited Sword System. Ding! The intern is boarding the ship, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. 8 Inner Gates. Option 2. Tegu King of Beasts. Option 3. Tegu is haunted by evil spirits. Sikong Yi didn't make a choice, he didn't interrupt for the time being to give the two gift packages. Captain, you are back. All the crew members on the Emperor Star ran to Sikong Yi to ask about his health. Sikong Yi responded and introduced Tashigi and Kebi to everyone. At first the two were a little cautious, but gradually they let go. Okay, I'll have time to chat with you in the future. The most urgent thing now is to go to Loguetown to bring Bartolomeo back. Sikong Yi stopped the chattering people and started talking about the new arrangement. This mission is not mandatory, except for me and Kuina who must go. The rest can choose not to go. After Sikong Yi threw the choice to everyone, Usopp was the first to speak out. I'm a sniper, in charge of guarding the ship. I'm a navigator, and staying on the Emperor Star is more useful. Nami also said that he didn't want to land in Loguetown. But Nuo Kagao is different from his sister. I must go to Loguetown, after all, my planting ship still lacks a lot of seeds. Nuo Kagao, you want to follow? Don't you know that there are 3 vice admirals in Loguetown? Nami hurriedly stood up to dissuade them. Besides, you can buy things like seeds anywhere. At worst, you can ask the captain to buy them for you. It's just that Nuo Kagao shook his head. If you encounter a problem, you should go to the captain. Aren't we crew members too useless? And this task was entrusted to me by the captain himself. Nami saw that Nuo Kagao couldn't be held back, so she didn't say anything to stop her. After that, Makino said to stay. She is self-aware that going to Loguetown is purely to make trouble for the captain. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo say they want to see the execution stand in Loguetown Center. Karina and Kaya declined to participate in the event. Zoro said that he wanted to cultivate for a while and did not plan to participate. Of course, in fact, Zoro was worried that he, the king, would not be able to lead a group of bronze players. Every time he went on a mission, other friends would always get separated for no reason, and he had to spend a lot of time looking for people. In the end, they didn't complete any missions, so they were busy looking for someone, but after the mission was completed, these guys returned to the Emperor Star by themselves. Just ask if you are angry. Therefore, Zoro pondered for a long time and decided not to participate in this event. As for Tashigi and Kebi, they are too weak, and they are just a burden to go, so they are directly left on board by Sikong Yi. In the final 3.6, the crew confirmed to land in Loguetown are Kuina, Nuo Kagao, Luffy, Ace, Sabo and Sikong Yi, a total of 6 people. After confirming the candidate, Sikong Yi took 5 friends back to the previous pirate ship and sailed towards Loguetown. The Emperor Star returned to the sea and continued to hide. Kingdom of Goa. The warships of Kizaru and Aokiji sailed into the port, and the royal family lined up to welcome them. The atmosphere was as warm as a celestial dragon's visit. As the interim person in charge of the Avengers incident, Garp came to the port to welcome the 2 admirals, and handed over the work to Kizaru very readily. Garp, who had nothing to do, was about to return to naval headquarters in his car, but was stopped by Kizaru and Aokiji at the same time. Aokiji said, Mr. Garp, Marshal Sengoku asked you to assist us in capturing all members of the Avengers. Hey, old man, I'm still on vacation now. Before that old fellow Sengoku let me take over this mess. How much time was wasted? Now that you young people are here, you still want to catch me? I won't do it. Old man Garp crossed his arms and played a rogue. Chapter 153 Crow wants to be a chess player. Buggy meets Niche again. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Seeing Garp's unscrupulous appearance, Kizaru couldn't help but said, just let you help us, you still have a lot of free time every day. And this period of time will be counted as your working day. Not only will you get your salary, but you can also reapply for leave after the task is completed. As a veteran in the workplace, Kizaru naturally knows what Garp is thinking. So a series of compensatory measures were quickly given. When Garp heard this, his face beamed with joy. If you said that earlier, it would be the end of the matter. Since there's nothing else to do, I'll go back to the office to review the plot of Sea Fat King. Saying that, Garp and several moonwalks left the crowded port. The meeting of the 3 high-level officials ended like this. The news of Kizaru and Aokiji's arrival in the Kingdom of Goa spread like wildfire, and it reached a man in a suit and glasses immediately. This person is Beiji Keluo, the deputy captain of the heroic spirit ship. He is currently aliased as Clabatel, and he is working as a housekeeper in the prince's mansion. The former housekeeper of the prince's mansion was caught by the Avengers and sent to see Lord Hades for deducting wages and humiliating civilians. I really didn't expect that things would come to this point, even Admiral was alarmed. There was a reflection of light reflected from the crow lens, and the slightly outlined corners of the mouth made people shudder. In fact, the Avengers is a stunt made by Buggy and has nothing to do with him. From the beginning to the end, he did not directly participate in the cleaning activities, but as a chess player, he was hidden behind the scenes. According to Sikong Ye's instructions, Crow successfully infiltrated the royal family and became a steward. The next step is to use the prince's influence to obtain a noble title for himself. Only in this way can he be eligible to compete for national insurance. When the kingdom of Goa is in his hands, it will be the best time to break away from celestial dragons, and the kingdom of Goa will no longer need to pay the heavenly gold. Of course, there is no rush for this matter, and a lot of complicated preliminary work is still needed. Crow once heard the captain say that the theme of this world is stealing, and they want to retaliate in their own way. Crow didn't understand this sentence before, but since he became the steward of the prince's mansion, he found out a lot of inside information and knew that the original owner of this world 800 years ago was not the celestial dragons. It is precisely because of this that he understands the meaning of the word mirror. And what they are doing now is exactly what the celestial dragons did 800 years ago. Of course, Crow doesn't think his methods are as low-end as celestial dragons. Without thinking for too long, Crow organized his language and reported the news of Kizaru and Aokiji's appearance in Goa Kingdom to Kuina. Crow. At Jizu, at Kuina, Captain, hello. According to the latest news, Kizaru and Aokiji have arrived in Goa Kingdom, suspected of attacking the Avengers. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Buggy. What? Two big admirals come to East Blue, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Buggy. I feel like I'm going to be cool. Close black lens bracket in Duanjen, a basement room. Buggy sat at the head of the round table, seemingly stable like an old dog, but actually panicked inside. In addition to Buggy, there are Zango, Alvida, the cat brothers, Mochi the animal trainer and Kabaji the unicycle swordsman in the secret room. As for the other miscellaneous fish pirates, they were all sent by Sikong Yi to various parts of East Blue. Currently, there are only 8 remaining heroes in Goa Kingdom, including Crow. Among the 8 heroic spirits, only Beiji Kella, Shinli and Diahua Clown Buggy, Hypnosis Teacher Zangao, and Taibang Alvida can see the group chat information. Open black lens bracket Kuina. At Buggy, can you be a little promising without really dying? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Buggy. Of course I know, but what if Admiral wants to make my life worse than death? Close black lens bracket. Vice Admiral Junshi alarmed Sikong Yi, seeing Buggy's problem. He couldn't think of any good solution for a while. The heroic spirit will not really die. After death, it can return to the heroic spirit ship, and it can be alive and kicking after a week of cooling down. But if Marine doesn't kill the heroic spirit, but arrests him and tortures him, he won't be able to be reborn, and he may become stupid under extreme torture. Even if it is reborn, it is estimated that it will not be cured. Although the horse charm can cure all diseases, it can only treat physical diseases and injuries. Even mental diseases caused by nerve damage or pathological changes can also be cured. But for psychogenic diseases, the horse charm is helpless. Group leader. At Buggy, don't worry, if you persist for a while, you only need to be responsible for performing the last scene, and then the curtain call will be over. At that time, I will have my own way to protect you. Open black lens bracket Buggy. Really? Close black lens bracket, group leader. I don't need to lie to you. After completing the task, I will grant you a month's vacation and let you act freely. Close black lens bracket. After getting the captain's response, Buggy's mood eased a lot. The rest of the people who could see the information of the auxiliary fleet were silent for a while. Guarantee you will die, okay? After the group chat ended, a black shadow appeared in the secret room where Buggy and others were. After the black shadow handed Buggy a note, it disappeared without a trace. Sombra comes from the Shadow Corps and is still in charge of intelligence work. However, just to be on the safe side, under the order of Sikong Yi, the Shadow Corps began to withdraw one after another, leaving only a small number of elite shadow soldiers to maintain the intelligence operation of the Goa Kingdom. Buggy took the note, and when he saw the content on it, he stood up abruptly. This movement instantly caught the attention of the rest of the round table. Buggy did not explain, but handed the note to Mochi. When Mochi saw the contents of the note, tears flowed down his face. Li Kei. I didn't expect Li Kei to be alive. Crying and muttering to himself, after returning to God, Mochi quickly rushed out of the secret room and ran towards the terminal of the uncertain object. Buggy and the others followed in disguise. It's just that Buggy's red nose, Alvida's body shape, and Django's special beard are all too obvious. Many civilians on the street recognized these high-level cadres of the Avengers Alliance and shunned them. The reason for respect is because the Avengers cleaned up the royal family and nobles they hated, and the reason for avoiding it is because they don't want to cause misunderstandings and be implicated. Among this group of senior cadres, Alvida is the most prominent and eye-catching existence. Because of her size and catchphrase, the entire kingdom of Goya trembled. Every time they recalled that catchphrase, many people's stomachs would not be able to help but twitch. Now Alvida has not met the devil fruit who gave her the perfect body. Even, she may never meet the fruit in her whole life. Master Buggy, what is it that makes Brother Mochi so excited? And who is the lychee he is talking about? Alvida asked Buggy in a little daughter attitude. Hiss. Licky is Mochi's pet. Being approached by Alvida, Buggy only felt a chill, and kept away from this fat lady who didn't have the slightest self-knowledge. He didn't explain too much. After all, Lee K is not a heroic spirit, and getting involved too deeply can easily bring Lee K a life or death disaster. Everyone nodded, but he didn't try to ask. Soon, Buggy and his group came to the terminal of uncertain things from Duan Town. The distance between the two places is not far, less than 10 minutes away. Located on the west side of the terminal of uncertain objects, Buggy found Mochi who was embracing with Lee K. One man and one lion hugged each other and wept bitterly. Many scavengers around were puzzled. Buggy keenly noticed that Lee K's hair was dirty and caked in many places. Without the softness and beauty of the past, he looked like a dog in the water. It is conceivable how much bitterness and tears Lee Chi paid to find them. The eye sockets gradually turned red, but due to his current status, Buggy suppressed 690's joy of reunion after a long absence. After adjusting his thoughts, Buggy walked up to Mochi and patted him on the shoulder with a serious look. Mochi, you are now taking Lee Chi to leave the kingdom of Goa. The next development of this kingdom is not what we expected. It doesn't matter if we die. A week later, we will be a hero again, but Lee K can't die. If he dies, it will be a world apart forever. Mochi trembled when he heard the words. He naturally understood the truth, so he looked at Buggy with grateful eyes, but the words of thanks still couldn't come out of his mouth. This kindness is more important than Mount Tai, and a mere thank you is not enough to make up for it. In the end, Mochi just nodded heavily, and then quickly left the uncertain terminal with Lee K, and evacuated towards the west blue shore of Mount Kolpo. There is their evacuation point there. The previous batches of pirates also left Goa Kingdom through this route. Seeing Mochi and Lakey go away, Buggy turns around and is about to leave the terminal of uncertainty. But before they took a few steps, they met an old man with a pierced top hat and moderate white eyebrows, who stopped in front of him. Several knights, please stay. Marine Admiral Kizaru and Aokiji have arrived in Goa Kingdom. I advise you to leave this place of right and wrong as soon as possible. With a pipe dangling from his mouth, the old man said slowly after taking 2 puffs. Smelly old man, who are you? It's not your turn to dictate our affairs. Buggy snorted coldly and didn't pay much attention to it. If the old man on the opposite side is a member of the royal family or aristocrats, and his words are still very bad, Buggy will definitely not mind making a fuss. But because of the captain's rules, they won't trouble ordinary people for no reason, and this old man kindly persuaded them to leave Goa Kingdom. The reason why Buggy swears at each other is just to drive the old man away, so as not to be held accountable by Marine because the old man has something to do with them. Chapter 154. Nadley recommended himself and sneaked into the town again. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Ho 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 ho. Red Nose, don't you remember me? The old man suddenly asked. However, Buggy didn't care who the other party was. The red nose made him jump, and apart from anything else, he rolled up his sleeves to teach the old man a lesson. The old man suddenly opened his half-closed eyes, and the conqueror's hockey gushed out, instantly shocking everyone. Buggy's pupils shrank slightly, and cold sweat soaked his skirt. Gradually, a sense of familiarity welled up in his heart, and Buggy opened his mouth wide and subconsciously exclaimed. Are you Na Jelly who once challenged Captain Luogia? Ho 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 ho, I didn't expect you to remember the old man with the red nose. Don't call me Red Nose, you are just Captain Luogia's defeat. Seeing that Nagel was about to perform conquerors again, Buggy was startled, and immediately put on a smile, and flattered. Well, actually, I think if you weren't too old, you would definitely be able to beat One Piece back then. Buggy's operation made Shu Zan Gao's scalp go numb. So you are such a Buggy, don't be poor, Red Nose. I have been following your organization for a long time, and I am very interested in your organization. I wonder if I can join. Hearing Nagel's self-recommendation, Buggy naturally didn't believe that there would be a good end after refusing. The rest of the senior cadres looked at each other in blank dismay, not knowing how to respond for a while, so they all looked at the leader of Buggy. Buggy looked confused. The prerequisite for joining their organization is to die once. So, this old man is begging to die. But he didn't dare to say this, otherwise he must be the one who died. Let me think about it. Buggy did not refuse, but immediately told Captain Ite and the captain in the group chat, telling them about Nagley. At the same time, he also reported to Mochi and Lee Ji that they were about to leave the kingdom of Goa. Open black lens bracket group owner. At Buggy, you can ask if Nagley has become an internet user. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Yi and his group of 6 were about to enter the port of Loguetown, but at this moment they received a message from Buggy, and it was also a message about Nagley wanting to join. Sikong Yi doesn't know much about Najeli, he only knows that he is a character who was defeated by One Piece King Luogia. The strength of this person is unknown. After all, it is not mentioned in the original book whether Luogia killed Najeli in seconds, or narrowly defeated Najeli. But Nagli seems to know hockey, and his accomplishments are not low. If he hadn't obtained hockey and the 6th-style cultivation method from Garp before entering the Kingdom of Goa, he might have invited this strong man to teach him. Open black lens bracket Buggy. He answered yes, and said that the cartoons in it were very interesting. In fact, I also think it's quite interesting. This internet lord is so f-king talented. For Buggy's praise, Sikong Yi expressed no envy at all, because the master of the internet is working under his hands. If Venom is the lord of the internet, then he is the father of the internet hand. Group leader. If that's the case, then you tell Nagli to protect Mochi and Li Ji and go to the Twin Cape on the Grand Line. I will contact him via the internet when we arrive. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Yi has never forgotten that his battle pet ship can also check the attributes and recruit potential pets for his own use. And the spirituality of this lion, Li Kei, is no worse than that of Pochi, and perhaps he is also qualified to be a member of the battle pet ship. Of course, he is not a heartless person. If Lakey is qualified to enter, he will arrange for Mochi to be a shit shovel officer and let him stay on the pet ship. Buggy. Good group leader. I will convey your will to Nagli. Close black lens bracket. Seeing that Nagel's matter was dealt with, Sikong Yi turned around and explained the details to the 5 partners who had changed appearances. Remember, the 5 of you are now named Sabi, Gufengji, Lurinya, Nokia and Azeroth. Sikong Yi looked at the transformed appearance of the 5 people while talking. I have to say that the ability of Venom to differentiate and simulate deformation is really good. Great for sneaking into enemy camps. Captain, can you change your name? Sabi is too ugly. Sabo, who changed into a shawl and yellow hair, protested. That's pizza. Sabi still sounds nice. Sabo said that he will not change, he does not want to be someone else's food. Luffy, who transformed into a black-haired pothead, also said that he would change his name, and Sikong Ye directly threw out passers-by A, B, C, ding and let Luffy choose. In the end, Luffy chose passerby A, the rest of Ace with the flame head, Kuina with the blue double ponytails, and Nuokagao with the blue explosive head. After seeing Sabo and Luffy collapsed one after another, they dare not mention the name change at all. Luffy, Ace and Sabo, you 3 went to the execution platform in the center of the town, and Kuina, Nokigo, and I went to Bardo's house. We split into 2 groups and went back quickly. Sikong Yi conducts operational deployment. The main reason why he allowed the 3 of Luffy to go to the town center to watch the execution platform is mainly because one of the side quests is related to the execution platform. And after the Emperor Star has been upgraded to level 3, he no longer needs to complete the side missions alone, but can call his partners to complete them together. If not, Sikong Yi would not let Luffy and the others follow. Landing in the town of Rog, the 2 teams split. Sikong Yi was just about to go find Bardo, and someone from the Vice Fleet has attacked him again. Open black lens bracket Buggy. At Jizu, you see, I have recruited a strong man for our alliance. Should there be some kind of reward? Close black lens bracket. Group leader. You don't like devil fruit, 6 styles and hockey, what do you want? Open black lens bracket Buggy. Like gold. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Kuina. Is there still not enough oil and water for you to fish in Goa Kingdom? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Buggy. Close black lens bracket. At this moment, Buggy was about to cry, Captain, don't come out to disrupt the situation. Can the reward from the captain be the same as what I earned myself? But the arm couldn't twist the thigh. The captain made it clear that his golden dream was stuck, and he really didn't lack anything in a short time. So, Buggy kept this credit in the record for the time being, and saved it for later to get the mysterious gift package promised to them by the captain. Rog Town waters. The Whitebeard pirate ship stopped here, and it has not been close to the town of Rog for a long time. They have already learned through the internet that there are 3 vice admirals in Rog Town, and they are hesitating whether to move forward at the moment. Vice admiral's strength is not bad. Although we are not afraid of 3 of them, they should not be provoked. After all, they are the front of Marine, and they can affect the whole body. It is easy to pierce the hornet's nest. Marco's mind is still flexible and calm. They are now in the East Blue, not in the lawless part of the New World. Therefore, those who should be restrained in their actions must also be restrained. He didn't want to cause a mess for his father. Neither Sax nor Namura refuted, and they naturally understood this truth. But if they didn't land in Rog Town, how would they find Ziwei and his gang? Is it possible to ambush on the only way out of Rog Town? Unfortunately, this method does not work. The Emperor Star seems to have the ability to dive or float in the air. They ambushed aimlessly, which is tantamount to fetching water from a bamboo basket in vain. Marco, as always, Guy Rui, the audience, quickly gave a detailed analysis. After reasoning and exclusion during this period, I think the Emperor Star is very likely to go by sea. Next, Marco told the 2 people the basis of his judgment. He believes that even if someone in the Ziwei Pirates eats the lion fruit, it is impossible to control a pirate ship to levitate and fly in a short time. And most importantly, Emperor Star is different from other wooden ships, it is a metal ship. Although Marco couldn't recognize what metal material the Emperor Star used, it was enough to show that the Emperor Star must have functions that wooden ships did not have. He has seen many submarines, which are basically made of metal, so he can deduce that the Emperor Star has a diving function. At this moment, Marco seemed to be transformed into Formoko, making bold reasoning. Another point, that is, as pirates, the Blue Star would definitely not dare to anchor at the port of Loguetown. Then it's not difficult to guess that the Ziwei pirates, like us, are also wandering in this sea area, and are still hiding on the bottom of the sea. When Marco finished stating his inference, his eyes turned to Namule. Namure was taken aback for a moment, and then realized that Marco was planning to let him go into the sea to investigate the situation, so he quickly nodded in agreement. Nod well. Plop. As Namure jumped into the sea, Marco looked at Sage again. Saki looked puzzled. Captain Marco, if you have something to say, just say it. I'm not that bad-spoken guy like Muir. How can I understand what your eyes mean? Marco. I mean, I want you to search with Namure, and the two of you will be faster, Marco explained. I want to go into the water too. How about Captain Marco, don't you plan to be lazy on the boat? Seeing Sak ask back, Marco stared at the former like an idiot. I'm a fruit-capable person, why don't you say I don't go into the water with you? Sak also realized that he was being stupid at this time, so he stopped talking immediately and plunged into the sea. Marco shook his head, turned around and looked towards the direction of the cabin, where the Teach post was closed at the moment. During this period of time, Teach's honesty made Marco wonder if he had done something wrong, and even had the idea of letting Teach out. But in the end, he gave up on this convulsive idea. Time passed slowly, and an hour later, Naur returned to the boat. And informed Marco that the location of the Emperor Star had been found. Marco called back to Sage via the internet, and then sailed close to the Emperor Star. Chapter 155 Namur. You human beings are simply deceiving fish too much, put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. When the Whitebeard pirate ship reached the sea directly above the Emperor Star, Marco spoke again. Namur, go and ask them to come up, if they refuse, they can attack and destroy the Emperor Star if necessary. Marco believes that as long as the Emperor Star is damaged and the seawater floods back, Ziwei and his gang will surely be defeated. And with Namur's water quality, it was enough to fish them all into the boat before Ziwei and his gang suffocated, without worrying about being drowned. Hearing this, Namur nodded, dived into the bottom of the sea again, and quickly swam to the glass cover of the Emperor Star, and knocked with his hand, but there was no sound. It is almost impossible to attract the attention of Ziwei and his group in this way. Unless you step up your game. However, Namur's purpose this time is not to attract hatred, but to attract the attention of the other party and negotiate with the other party. Namur looked into the glass cover and found that there were two busy teenagers and a lazy husky on the deck at the moment, so he waved his hand to greet them. It's a pity that it is difficult to transmit sound in seawater. Even if murlocs can communicate in the sea, it may not be understood by humans. Coupled with the isolation of the glass cover, the two people who were busy did not hear Namur's call. But Boki noticed Naur, stood up and kept barking. Kebi, who was mopping the floor, wiped the sweat off his head. After noticing Pochi's abnormality, he subconsciously followed Husky's line of sight to look at the glass cover. Suddenly, he opened his mouth wide. Shark, 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 shark. Come and see, there is a huge shark here. Huh? Zoro, who had just rested for an hour and then devoted himself to sword training, looked out of the glass cover. Sure enough, there was a shark wearing a sweater and jeans in the 780, who seemed to have accidentally bumped into the glass cover. And also greeted them. After looking at the picture for freshness, Zoro started training again. Whether he is a shark or not, it is not as important as his cultivation. The interference of foreign objects will only affect the speed of his sword drawing. Seeing that Zoro didn't care, Kebi stepped forward curiously, sizing up the clothed shark as if he were a rare animal. Seeing that the shark was very polite, Kebi also waved to him and greeted him politely. Even asked each other's name. That Muir gestured for a long time, but Kebi didn't understand what it meant. Scratching his head in embarrassment, Kebi said apologetically, I'm sorry brother shark, I forgot that you are not human and cannot speak. Namur. You are not human, your whole family is not human. The murlocs can communicate in the sea, so they can naturally hear the sounds in the sea. Even though most of the volume is cut off by the glass cover, there is still a very subtle sound that reaches Namur's ears. However, Kebi's apologetic and sincere words pierced him like a sharp knife. The murlocs ate your rice, why aren't the murlocs human? You human beings are simply bullying too much. Now Namur was very irritable, and he didn't care about any negotiations immediately, and was going to blow the glass cover with his fist to vent his hatred. Crackling. But before he could make a move, the Emperor Star in front of him suddenly burst into blue light, and strands of blue electric light intertwined together to form a huge pulsating and violent grid. Namur's knowledge made him feel something bad, and he was about to leave immediately, but before he swam 5 meters away, a sense of numbness and convulsions erupted from his body. Kebi was instantly terrified by this scene. He turned his head and found that Nami appeared in the captain's room at some point, seeming to be operating something. Kebi just wanted to persuade Nami to stop, but a group of boys and girls ran out from the cabin, and all of them stared at Nami vigilantly. What are you doing? Kebi vaguely sensed something was wrong. Teacher, Since there is an enemy attack, of course it is time to prepare for battle, otherwise what do you think? Usopp patted Kirby on the shoulder and explained. The reason why he is called Kebi Tour is that just today, he honorably passed on his title of handyman to Kebi. In order to teach Kirby how to sweep and mop the floor to take out the garbage, Usopp naturally became the former's master. Although after boarding the ship, Usopp seldom handled the work of handyman, and even later these jobs were taken over by Makino. But the title of handyman, after being thrown to him by the captain, has never been taken off. Now, Usopp has finally found someone who can carry on his title. Enemy attack. War preparation. Where is it? Kebi looked around in panic. Usopp pointed to Nami. No, that's the fish. In Kekayase village, he threatened to take Kaya away. At that time, I beat him to half mutilation when I shot the Nirvana god Brilliant Flame Dragon Star. Unexpectedly, the fish came after him after healed up. Master Usopp, you were amazing. Kebi was shocked. He didn't expect that the long-nosed boy who led him to the door looked indifferent, but was actually so powerful. Sure enough, the stories told by those storytellers are all adapted from real people and real events, and the sweeping monk will always be a hidden boss. Of course, Usopp's nose was raised high, showing faint signs of getting longer. Master Usopp, why is there a discharge around the Emperor Star? Whose ability is this? Kebi was like a curious baby at the moment, pulling Usopp to ask non-stop. And Usopp enjoyed this academic atmosphere of preaching and solving puzzles very much, so he coughed lightly and patiently explained. This is called the power grid. By embedding some kind of special conductive metal in the metal wall and glass cover, it can conduct current to launch all-round attack and defense. As soon as Usopp opened his mouth, the world seemed to be overshadowed by it. It is a simple power grid, but Usopp dragged out a 30,000-word academic paper. Hearing this, Kebi didn't know what was going on, and he kept waving his hands beside him and applauding. Seeing that the silly brother was so easily fooled, Tashigi was even more pessimistic about this undercover mission. When Usopp's explanation came to an end, Namur also resisted the numbness and convulsions, and tried to control his limbs to move upward. Out of the attack range of the grid. Seeing Namur leave, Kurina, the staff officer of the Broken Army, began to issue orders. Nami, you drive the Emperor Star to evacuate the area immediately, keep wandering around the town of Rog, be careful not to be caught by the Japanese regiment. Hearing this, Nami immediately launched the Emperor Star to cruise around the town. At the same time, a steady stream of current is continuously injected into the power generation and storage equipment. After collapse, Kaya helps to speed up recovery. Usopp also came to the captain's room, dropped a torpedo, adjusted the scope, and gave a thunderous blow as soon as the enemy appeared. In order to prevent the Emperor Star from leaking water and causing unnecessary casualties, Kurina opened the portal and sent Makino in. As for Kebi and Tashigi, according to the captain's thinking, they will definitely not be allowed to touch the core secrets of the Z-Way pirates in a short time. Therefore, she even avoided the two of them when opening the world transmitting gate, let alone sending them into the shadow ship. As for Aunt Ban, she has been staying in the heroic spirit ship recently and rarely comes to the main ship, so there is no need to worry about her safety now. Kurina repeatedly considered whether there were any omissions in her arrangement, and after several confirmations, she was relieved. As a staff officer of the Broken Army, if she can't even guard the ship well, what qualifications does she have to be a staff officer? On the other side, Namur fell into a coma after exhausting his strength and swimming out of the water. Marco, who has been in charge of the wind, noticed Naur's figure at the first time, and realized that Naur was seriously injured. He suffered extensive burns all over his body, and his limbs twitched non-stop. Obviously suffered a high-voltage electric shock. Marco was extremely anxious, and quickly picked up the fishing rod to catch Namur. What's the smell? It smells so good. Saki, who had just delivered food to teach, smelled a smell of grilled fish, and his eyes lit up. Then, Sax saw Marco fishing with a fishing rod, and suddenly became excited. Captain Marco, are you fishing? I haven't seen you setting up a barbecue grill. Why do you feel the smell of grilled fish? When Marco heard this, he turned his head and gave Sak a cold look. You cook is only thinking about eating, why don't you hurry up and drag Namur up? Huh? Namuel. Saki didn't know why, when he walked to the side of the boat and saw Namur soaking in the sea, his head suddenly roared. Namuel was injured. How can that be? You must know that the sea is Namur's home field. Afterwards, Saki didn't consider whether there was still current in the seawater at all, jumped into the sea without saying a word, and dragged Namur up. Seeing that Sage was so reckless, Marco wanted to remind him, but it was a step too late. But fortunately, Saki is fine, which means that there is no current in the sea at this moment, otherwise another one will have to be connected. After Sage dragged Namur aboard, Marco found gauze and ointment and began to bandage Namur's wound. While bandaging, Marco tried to wake up Namuel and asked about the situation of the other party's death. After a while, Namur woke up, but his consciousness was somewhat blurred. Namur was visibly relieved to find himself lying on deck, for he had never enjoyed life at sea so much as at this moment. Namuel, tell me, who hurt you like this? Marco asked in a deep voice. Seeing his partner hurt, he really gave birth. P.S. During this period of time, there are 4 updates and 12,000 a day. I can write it, but the quality has declined. This is not what I expected to see. After thinking for a long time, the young author decided to update 9,000 words every day. The number of words may not satisfy everyone, but at least it can guarantee the quality of each chapter. Chapter 156 Marco's Revenge. The Emperor Star is about to sink. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. It's Ziwei's group. On the deck, Namur weakly told Marco and Sak about his experience just now. Both of them understood after listening to it. The cause of this incident was not that Ziwei and his team deliberately found fault, but that the communication in the sea was inconvenient, and Namur had a tendency to attack at that time, which caused the other party to fight back. As for Namur's emphatic description of being pointed at his nose by a 6-year-old child and scolding him as inhuman, it made Marco and Sage at a loss as to what to say. A 6-year-old kid knows what a fart, you, an old man, actually ran to vent your anger on a child. It's just that they are thinking about these words in their hearts. Both of them are very clear that the relationship between the Fishman Island and human beings is extremely complicated. Therefore, Namur is particularly sensitive in the face of this problem, and it is understandable to make any radical behavior. Namur, you are so self-cultivated, I will go and avenge you. Marco gently carried Princess Namuel to the bed, and promised the latter. Although this is a beautiful misunderstanding, it cannot be ruled out that Ziwei and his gang deliberately humiliated Namur and launched a sneak attack. Zhonghu is nothing more than jurisprudence and human feelings. Pirates never talk about the law, and it is hard to tell who is more reasonable in this matter, so Marco can only talk about human feelings. Sage, take care of Namuel, I'll be right back. Leaving the cabin, Marco solemnly confessed to Sax, then spread his wings and soared into the sky, with the observation hockey fully open, and probed into the depths of the seabed, trying to find the figure of the Emperor Star. Because it took a lot of time to help Namur bandage, and Karina moved the Emperor Star on the spot, so Marco didn't find any trace of Ziwei's group for a while. However, he was not in a hurry, but locked on a general direction through the weak current changes in the swimming direction of fish schools. As the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates and the captain of the first team, Marco naturally also has excellent knowledge of navigation. Weak changes in currents and schools of fish can also be seen. After chasing for 10 minutes, Marco suddenly sensed a group of familiar auras moving fast at a position 200 meters below sea level. Don't think about it, the Emperor Star must be directly below him. After completely locking the Emperor Star, Marco didn't talk nonsense. The blue gold wings shone brightly, and condensed a fireball above his head. The fireball continued to rotate and burn, and its power became more and more violent. Phoenix Ray. Hearing Marco's roar, a blazing laser shot out from the fireball and went towards the bottom of the sea. The high temperature directly penetrated the seawater, and the burned seawater instantly turned into a large amount of water vapor. Click. On the Emperor Star, everyone only heard the sound of glass shattering, and several people on the deck found a hole in the glass cover of the Emperor Star. In an instant, a beam of blue gold intersected light pierced through the glass cover, and its momentum remained undiminished, penetrating the deck and bottom of the Emperor Star together. After the seawater found the outlet, it was poured into the Emperor Star in an instant. Seeing this scene, Karina was full of horror and uneasiness. She didn't understand what was wrong with her layout. Even though she had already left the place, she was found so quickly, and she didn't even see the face of the other party. The Emperor Star was broken by an inexplicable attack. Fortunately, the crew of the Ziwei pirates were lucky, and there were no casualties. Karina glanced at the thumb-thick hole on the glass cover. According to this water injection speed, Dixon County would sink in a short time. I can't go on like this, I must control the Emperor Star to surface as soon as possible, otherwise, Karina murmured to herself. But she reacted quickly. Perhaps it was not luck that there were no casualties, but that the opponent deliberately only pierced the Emperor Star without hurting other members of the ship. The opponent's purpose is to force the Emperor Star out of the sea. Thinking of this possibility, Karina instantly calmed down a lot. This is enough to show that the other party has no intention of killing them. And based on the blue gold beam of light just now, it is not difficult to guess that the attacker has a high probability of being Marco of the Whitebeard Pirates. Marco didn't kill them, but forced them out of the sea, obviously wanting Kaya to help them heal Namuel. In this way, everything makes sense. Afterwards, Karina hurriedly entered the captain's room to find Nami. Now quickly repair the Emperor Star, and then drive the Emperor Star to dive to the bottom of the sea. The deeper the better. Without Karina's reminder, Nami turned on the automatic repair function in the first place. Although this function is expensive, she cares more about her own life. What's the use of asking for more money when your life is gone? However, Nami hesitated after hearing Karina's plan to dive. Karina, didn't the captain tell us not to dive too deep, so as not to encounter sea kings? Don't worry, sea kings are generally in Calm Belt, Grand Line or New World. There are basically no sea kings in the four seas. Karina knows a thing or two about sea kings, although some sea kings will stray into the world, but that is still a very small part. She does not believe that the luck of the Ziwei pirates will be so bad. Well, if something goes wrong, you can take responsibility. Nami couldn't argue with Karina, and began to dive after muttering something in a low voice, and the latter's head was full of black lines when he heard this. Secretly thought that this girl has become more and more detached recently, it is time to clean up. But Karina doesn't have time now. She arranges for everyone except Nami to hide in the cabin temporarily and keeps Zoro on guard against sneak attacks from the sea. Once the partner encounters a crisis, Zoro can save the scene in time. No way, Zoro is the strongest among all the partners present, followed by her, followed by Nami and Usopp. As for Kaya, Kebi and Tashigi, they are basically unbeatable. During the automatic repair of the Emperor Star, Marco on the sea noticed that the Ziwe pirates not only did not float up after the hull was damaged, but also dived. What surprised him the most was that the glass cover was clearly pierced by him, but it only had a hole the size of a thumb, and it couldn't be broken like other glass. Since you don't come up, you will be forced to come up. Marco followed the same pattern and fired 2 phoenix rays again. Boom. Boom. Asterisk asterisk everyone on the Emperor Star saw that there were 2 more holes in the glass cover, the deck and the bottom of the ship, and their faces were very ugly. In addition to the previous ones, a total of 6 holes are currently being filled with water, and the speed of water entering the Emperor Star has also accelerated several times. Seeing the sea water spread to her knees, Karina couldn't help feeling a headache. If the power grid is used, it is estimated that the current will flow back against themselves along the water flow. In other words, if Namur is still there, the glass cover can be broken at any time, and Ziwe and his gang are completely defeated. It's definitely not going to go on like this. Usopp and Kebi, you find 2 buckets, pour the seawater into the toilet, and flush it back into the sea. Karina thought of a way. Of course, this is not the kind of cold joke in the story where another hole is opened in the boat to let the sea flow out. The design of the toilet on the Emperor Star is extraordinary. In order to ensure that the water in the toilet can be flushed out of the cabin even on the seabed, a unique pressurization device is specially equipped. Through high-pressure air jet, sewage can be easily output. Point 0 Usopp and Kebi acted immediately after hearing the words. They didn't want to die, so naturally they didn't want to waste a second. Karina, on the other hand, opened a small portal to divert part of the seawater in, trying to prolong the submersion time of the Emperor Star. But she knows that this is not a long-term solution. Once Marco continues to attack, he is destined to be caught without a fight. Thinking of this, Karina had to contact Sikong Yi in the group chat for help. Open black lens bracket Karina. At Group Master, Captain, we have been attacked by the White Regiment Marco, and now the Emperor Star is leaking and is about to sink. Close black lens bracket. Group Leader. Huh? Aren't you guys staying in the sea? As a demon fruit power, Marco shouldn't be able to go into the water, right? After purchasing all kinds of seeds, Sikong Yi was about to contact Bartolomeo and make a contract with his relatives and friends, but something happened suddenly on the Emperor Star. This made Sikong Yi feel a little tired. The crew is too weak, and sometimes they can't do it all by themselves. Open black lens bracket Karina. Things are like this. Close black lens bracket with Karina's explanation, Sikong Yi finally understood the ins and outs. In short, Namuel, who is good at water, stumbled in the sea, and Marco, who can fly but is not good at water, almost blows up the Emperor Star. Tisk tisk. It's also really dramatic, but there is one thing to say, the grid can only attack close-range targets, and the torpedo can only have an effect on creatures in the sea. Calculated in this way, Naur was indeed given to Tianke by the Emperor Star, but Marco was able to Tianke the Emperor Star. The premise is to find the target. At present, it seems that diving to the bottom of the sea is the only way. Sikong Yi walked into a small alley, frowning in thought. When Kuina saw this, she patted the former's shoulder lightly and said with a smile. Captain, let me tell you something, just 10 seconds ago, I sensed that 2 new heroic spirits were born. Birth is birth. What does this have to do with the current problems encountered by the Emperor Star? Huh? Wait. Sikong Yi seemed to sense something was wrong. Chapter 157. While Marco is not there to steal the house, God teach assists. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Sikong Yi, who was still a little impatient, calmed down instantly. Thinking of Kuina's usual behavior, he believed that the other party would never joke about the key point of the imminent sinking of the Emperor Star. That means that the identities of these 2 heroic spirits are not simple. And judging from Kuina's expression, the identities of these 2 heroic spirits seem to be able to solve the problem on the Emperor Star. Soon, Sikong Yi thought of a possibility. Kuina, could the 2 heroic spirits you mentioned be? That's right, it's Thatch and Namuel. Kuina smiled sweetly, making Sikong Yi go crazy. Then Sikong Yi asked from the bottom of his heart if Venom could check the user's online status, and the answer he got was the same as Kuina's. Both of them were offline at the moment. Once the internet fruit is connected to the target's mind, it will only be disconnected after death, which shows that Saki and Namur are really dead. Although Sikong Yi couldn't believe the death of Saki and Namur, the news came too soon. Not only that, but the death of Saki and Namur also made Sikong Yi understand that transforming into a heroic spirit after death is a kind of rebirth, so the 520 client of the internet fruit was not reborn on the heroic spirit together. In other words, Devil Fruit's power sequence is below the system's power sequence, and it is basically impossible to interfere with the system's power. After Sikong Yi recovered from the storm of thinking, he put his arms around Kuina's fragrant shoulders, his face full of excitement. Kuina, I didn't expect you to make a contract with Marco and the others. This news is very important, and there are two more powerful people. Captain, this is just a passive contract, and I don't have strong constraints on them, Kuina said modestly with a blushing face. That's not important, I have plenty of ways to make them work for me. By the way, Aunt Ban is also in the heroic spirit ship now, so it shouldn't be a problem, right? Don't worry, I've given Aunt Ban a lot of authority. Even if they are both passive contractors, Saki and Namur can't hurt Aunt Ban at all. Kuina showed off with a smug face. This is a special restriction in the heroic ship contract, also known as class restriction. And the contracts of Aunt Ban and all the relatives and friends of the crew members are all the highest standard models in passive contracts. That's good. This time it's really thanks to Teach's divine assist. Sikong Yi couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Marco is attacking the Emperor Star, Saki and Namul are dead, and it is easy to know that the culprit is Teach. Call. The reason why Teach can escape is not because of the two divine assists of our Ziwei pirates? Kuina thought the captain was thanking Teach, so she jumped out and sang the opposite. Seeing this, Sikong Yi shook his head and laughed. I didn't mean to thank Teach, the pirate I most want to kill in this sea is Teach. Teach was a member of the Whitebeard pirates in the past. If I attacked him, the entire Whitebeard pirates would be hostile. But now it's different. I can gain the Whitebeard's friendship by killing Teach instead. Sikong Yi explained, but he was somewhat empty in his heart. The Teach version of Summit War he had envisioned is probably dead. Nuo Kagao silently followed behind Sikong Yi and Kuina, seeing the two people in front of them talking about love, the whole person was a little bit pampered. I'm here to buy seeds, not to eat dog food, group leader. At Karina, you can go straight to the surface, don't be afraid of Marco, he won't make it difficult for you, you just need to promise to treat Namul. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Karina. Is there no other way? Close black lens bracket on Emperor Star. Director Na had to make compromises again, which was very unpleasant. She was not complaining about Sikong Yi, but felt that she was not good enough to cause all this. Group leader. This is the most labor-saving method, just do it, and then you will know why I asked you to do this. Close black lens bracket. On the other end of the group chat, Sikong Yi deliberately set up a suspense and did not continue. He was worried that after everyone in the group knew the inside story, they would not be able to manage their micro-expressions and expose them, which would arouse Marco's suspicion. As for the heroic spirits of Saki and Namur, Sikong Yi intends to wait until he returns to the Emperor Star to consider this issue. On the Emperor Star, everyone looked at the captain's message and felt baffled. Why didn't Marco embarrass them now that he was afloat? Karina was also puzzled, but she could feel that this time the captain was not compromising, but something happened that she didn't know. It's just that the captain didn't elaborate, and she couldn't continue to ask questions. The most urgent task is to solve the crisis of the shipwreck of the Emperor Star. Wading through the half-submerged seawater, Karina came to the captain's cabin next door from the reception cabin, and gave Nami a wink. Nami, you should have seen the contents of the group chat, right? Well, the Emperor Star is already ascending. What did you mean by what the captain said just now? Nami's face was full of curiosity. Karina gave a wry smile and shook her head. I don't know either, but according to what the captain said, the answer should be above, right? Due to the deposition of seawater, the Emperor Star did not rise fast, and it took a full 10 minutes to surface. Marco's mouth twitched slightly after seeing the Emperor's Star compromised and floated up, thinking that his analysis was reasonable. After a while, the huge body of the Emperor's Star completely surfaced from the sea, and after the glass cover was opened, the seawater immediately overflowed. Only part of the seawater remains in the corridor on the second floor of the cabin and the one-bedroom cabin. The glass cover has been placed in the interlayer, but the 3 holes in the bottom of the ship have not been repaired, so the Emperor's Star is still flooded. Usopp and Kebi were so busy that they kept pouring out the seawater, and Tashigi and Kaya came to help. None of them paid much attention to Marco for a while. Marco was not annoyed when he saw this, lightly landed on the ship's side. Karina stepped forward at this time and asked Marco in a cold voice, Captain Ma, what's the matter? I want to speak to your captain. The captain is not here, if you have anything to tell me, I will tell the captain. Don't be joking, little girl. I have seen the process of your captain's teleportation. Although I don't know whose ability it is for the time being, it must be no problem for your captain to teleport here, right? Good guy, I can't talk about this topic. The captain has something to do, and will not return to the Emperor's Star in a short time. Is there something wrong? Is there any urgent matter that is more important than the lives of your partners? I think you should be able to send messages through the forum app, and let him come back quickly, otherwise I will not guarantee your safety. It seems that because Namura was injured, Marco, who has always been good-tempered, was a little irritable, and he immediately threatened. These words made Karina frown. She didn't understand why the captain wanted to bring the Emperor's Star up. Isn't this a sheep in the mouth of a tiger? The faces of the rest of the crew were also ugly. Zoro was already holding the knife handle with his left hand, and Usopp took out the slingshot. Pochi kicked his legs, wishing he could rush up and kick Marco twice. Even Kirby and Tashigi glared at Marco. Karina glanced at the group chat, and then her gaze became firm. The captain is very busy now, I will not disturb the captain. If you want to fight, our Ziwei pirates will accompany you to the end. Yes, stay with me to the end, the rest of the crew also roared. Everyone is young, just at the age of youth. How can we compromise again and again? What the hell is Whitebeard? Seeing this scene, Marco was slightly surprised. In the end, he spread his hands. Since he's not there, let's forget about it. We'll talk about it when he comes back. Marco was really in a bad mood, so he deliberately used Sikong Yi as an issue, but after seeing these little pirates defending his captain so unitedly, his mood improved a lot. However, my partner was injured by your electric shock and needs medical treatment. Please go with me. Marco's tone was unquestionable. Karina breathed a sigh of relief when she heard the words and then agreed. Under the guidance of Marco, everyone quickly found the Whitebeard pirate ship. However, before boarding the ship, Marco's face turned pale, and he directly spread his 4.0 wings and flew over. Everyone in Karina looked at each other, not understanding what happened, but they still drove the Emperor Star to the vicinity of the Whitebeard pirate ship, and then they saw blood on the opposite deck. There were two corpses lying in a pool of blood, one of which had its chest pierced, and the other had its head chopped off. These two corpses are precisely Saki and Namur. Ah, Teach, you are so damned. Marco knelt on the deck, looking at the scene in front of him, roaring hard piercingly. As smart as he is, after discovering that Teach had disappeared, he immediately connected the two and figured out the cause and effect. At this moment, Marco regretted that he did not solve this scourge as soon as possible. Obviously the manga has foreshadowed it clearly. As a result, he kept thinking about his old love and didn't take the content of the comics seriously. I even naively thought that as long as the dark fruit is not found, Teach will not kill his compatriots, he will not be arrested for chasing Teach, and the father will not be involved, and everything in the comics will not happen. However, he overlooked one thing, the problem is not with dark fruit, but with Teach itself. Chapter 158 I usually don't laugh unless I can't help it, put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. At the same time, Marco thinks that since future events have not happened, those crimes cannot be established, and he should not treat Teach as a character in a comic. It's a pity that Marco didn't think about it at all. Teach himself is a hero who can do whatever it takes to achieve his goal. Even if he hasn't waved the butcher knife at his brother and father yet, it doesn't mean he can be influenced by Marco's few words. The reason why they didn't escape before was because Marco and Namuel could fly a good water. Teach knew that he had no chance to escape, so naturally he would not turn his face rashly. But now, Namur is seriously injured, and Marco is out, isn't it just creating a great opportunity for Teach? If he didn't run away like this, wouldn't he be worthy of the luck accumulated by his ancestors? As for following Marco and the others to return to New World and let the old man take care of them. Don't be ridiculous. How could a hero like Teach easily hand over his fate to others? Even though the authenticity of the manga is still uncertain, does Teach really need to prove or clarify to others? No need at all, because Teach's goal is always the throne of One Piece. And Marco's mistake is that he always remains dubious about comics, and he always remains dubious about Teach. In this ambiguous state, Teach did not dare to put his life on others 14, so he could only look for an opportunity to turn his face. If Marco and the others had always trusted Teach or believed from the beginning that Teach would do the behavior in the comics, Saki and Namur would definitely not have fallen to their current fate. Puff. Seeing this scene, Usopp couldn't help laughing. He didn't know which big boss came to steal the house while Marco was away, but this wave was really relieved. Marco, who heard the laughter, turned his head to look at Usopp instantly, his eyes were bloodshot, and he seemed to be about to go into a state of rampage. Why are you laughing? I remember happy things. Marco was even angrier when he heard this answer. At the beginning, Teach was like this. What joy. I know a giant elephant, its size can block the sky, one day it farted, and then a 10-level typhoon blew. Puff ha ha ha. Usopp was amused by his own cold jokes while talking, and kept patting the side of the boat, laughing his whole body. It's really deceiving. I have tolerated you for a long time, little brat with a long nose. You are clearly making fun of me for being robbed. Captain Marco, I have been trained strictly. Generally speaking, no matter how funny it is, I won't laugh, unless I can't help it. Puff. After Usopp finished speaking, the girls next to her couldn't help laughing, and then realized that she was being rude, and quickly covered her mouth. Only Zoro looked solemn, always on guard against Marco's hands. Kebi, on the other hand, was frightened by Usopp's behavior of teasing the tiger's beard, and his face turned pale. I said, Master, haven't you seen that Birdman is very strong? You are so provocative. Really well done. Kirby admired Usopp's guts even though he was about to pee in terror. I think you are tired of work. Marco said that he was about to do it. Karina stood up quickly, first knocked Usopp hard, and then explained to Marco. Captain Ma, this guy is mentally ill, and he is seriously ill. Don't be as knowledgeable as he is. The deceased has passed away, so I think it's better not to commit murder during the funeral. After listening to Karina's explanation, Marco suppressed the grief in his heart. Get out, I don't want to see you now. Ziwei and his gang were also drunk when they heard the words. You asked us to come here before, but now you want us to leave. You are really old scumbags. But everyone didn't say anything, they wished to stay away from Marco. Nami drove the Emperor Star slowly away from the Whitebeard pirate ship. Seeing that Marco was not looking for trouble, Usopp immediately hid in his one-bedroom cabin, recalling the actions just now, breaking out in a cold sweat. What was I doing just now? How dare I laugh at Marco? Did I just go crazy? After 3 times in a row, Usopp calmed down a little. He did not do it on purpose. He really can't help it. Ha 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 ha. Usopp slapped the desk hard, laughing wildly. I told you to be arrogant, I told you to die, I told you to come and provoke our Ziwe pirates, now you will be sanctioned by the unknown boss, ha 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 ha. The conversation was divided into 2 parts. After Sikong Yi finished the group chat with Karina, he pulled Bartolomeo into the main fleet to ask for the other party's address. Group owner. At Botwo Luo Miao, I am the captain Sikong Yi. Bardo, where is your home address? I will find you in the past. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Bartolomeo. Captain. Why did you appear in my mind, Captain? Captain, come and save me. I was caught by Marine? Close black lens bracket. Hearing that Bardo was captured by Marine, Sikong Yi frowned subconsciously. What's going on today? Why are accidents one after another? The matter on the Emperor Star has just been dealt with, and there is another moth in Loguetown? Host. Tien talked about the situation. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Bartolomeo. Captain, the 2 little brats I taught last time told Marine about my recruitment by the Ziwe pirates, and then Marine arrested me. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this was the reason, Sikong Yi's face darkened. These brats really deserve discipline. You'd better pray that you won't be encountered by me, and I promise not to kill you. Last time, he put all his focus on Bartolomeo, and didn't care about the 2 little kids, so he let them go. The result was a whistleblower. Sikong Yi's favorite saying is, come and don't reciprocate. He must teach these 2 brats a lesson, but Sikong Yi was not in a hurry, but asked Bardo's address in the main fleet, as well as everyone he cared about. After Sikong Yi finished asking, he was ready to set off to complete the contract, and then consider the matter of rescuing Bartolomeo. Group leader. At Bartolomeo, you stay well first, I will go to the Loguetown branch to rescue you later. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Bartolomeo. Thank you, the captain, for your great love to me. I can't repay you in this life. I'm willing to be an ox and a horse to repay my life-saving grace. Close black lens bracket. Rog Township Marine Branch. In a prison. Bartolomeo was moved by the captain's unhesitating heroism, and cried out on the spot. With such a captain, he felt that he would have no regrets in his life. Why are you crying? Anyone who can enter here is not a vicious person. Now that I regret it, why did I go? Seeing that Bartolomeo was crying suddenly, a prison guard immediately reprimanded him. These pirates are like this, they don't cry when they don't see the coffin. In the conference room, the 3 Marine Vice Admirals had just finished interrogating Bartolomeo, and learned that it wasn't long before the latter joined the Ziwe pirates. Therefore, they did not ask any useful information at all. The only thing that is certain is that the Ziwe pirates will return to Loguetown in the near future to take Bartolomeo to the pirate ship. If you want me to say that you can just kill him, it will be a disaster if you keep it, especially that brat with the coxcomb head who dares to bully Marine's admirers. This is ruining Marine's future, and he must be killed as an example to others. The ghost spider snorted coldly. He could not understand these pirates the most in his life. Only by killing them all can prevent all evils from breeding. But Doberman and Huashaoshan don't think so, Huashaoshan said. This guy can catch the Ziwe pirates, and Smoker's disappearance is related to them. If you kill the coxcomb head of 290 now, Smoker how to do? That trash, Smoker, can't even deal with a pirate group whose average age is less than 10 years old. It's better to die. To live is just embarrassing our Marine. Ghost Spider grows increasingly dissatisfied with Smoker. He also likes to smoke on weekdays, but the cigarettes he smokes are long and thin. Therefore, he dislikes Huashaoshan who smokes cigars, especially Smoker who smokes 2 cigars. Huashaoshan still wanted to say something, but Doberman interrupted the quarrel between the 2. Bartolomeo's devil fruit is a barrier fruit. In order to ensure that the fruit does not leak out, it is best to put him in impel down. Of course, before we lock him in, we must use him to attract the Ziwe pirates, a big fish that has been fattened up in East Blue. You know, Ziwe's team has too many devil fruits. Marshal Sengoku called me the day before yesterday, asking me to pay more attention and find out how they get devil fruits. Of course, Smoker definitely can't give up. People with Logia abilities are rare, and we Marine can't afford to lose. Doberman's words made the ghost spider's thoughts of complaining go out a lot, and he snorted coldly, and stopped wasting more words. Boom boom boom. Huashaoshan. Come in. Then, a messenger walked into the meeting room and came to the 3 vice admirals, standing at attention and saluting. Report. The 3 of them couldn't help frowning slightly after seeing that this messenger soldier was the same messenger soldier last time. Didn't they arrange someone to notify the branch manager to replace the messenger 3 days ago? What qualifications does a person who can't even express clearly when reporting work have to be a messenger? What on earth is the manager of the Rog Township branch doing? However, the next moment, the three of them suddenly remembered. Smoker is the new manager of the Rog branch. Chapter 159. It's time for them to recognize this world clearly. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 15.6 Kun Bai Ji Bu Xing Dian Now 15's FQ 5057 TU. HPHK. 5 Hong Kong dollars. 499 D12 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. However, this branch manager neglected his duties within a day after he took over the post, and instead of chasing the wanted criminal Teso, he ran to trouble the Ziwei pirates and disappeared that day. As for tasks such as personnel deployment, without the transfer order of the branch manager, how could other lieutenants and non-commissioned officers dare to change messengers for Vice Admiral? What if it was replaced by a messenger who made Vice Admiral even more dissatisfied? After thinking about this, the three Vice Admirals couldn't help feeling a little bit pained. However, they still made up their minds that they must replace this messenger soldier next time. Even if they let the soldier they brought over take the post of messenger soldier temporarily, they don't want to see this face again. Come on, what's the matter? It's better to pick the important content, our time is precious. Dao Bofu asked a little tiredly. Reporting to the three Vice Admirals, the Ziwei pirates have appeared in the center of the town, and are currently looking at the scenery of the town from the execution platform. The summoner's words were concise and to the point, without any extraneous personal judgment. The three Vice Admirals looked at each other, seeing astonishment in each other's eyes. Ziwei pirates ran to Luo Jia's execution platform to see the scenery? What is this operation? It just makes their scalps tingle. They tried every means to use Bartolomeo to lure the Ziwei pirates to take the bait, but instead of taking the bait, they ran to the most conspicuous place in Rog Town. This is for fear that they will not know. Ziwei pirates made such a move, but made them feel that all the previous layouts seemed a bit of a fuss. I'm going to capture Ziwei and his gang now. It just so happens that there is an execution platform there, and they can be killed directly on the spot, which also saves the cumbersome process of imprisoning them and impelled down. As a representative of the Marine Hawks and Akainu's capable general, the Ghost Spider is obviously a murderous person. If he doesn't kill a few pirates a day, he will feel uncomfortable all over. Since their three naval headquarters elite Vice Admiral came to Rog Town, all the pirates in Rog Town had fled and almost disappeared, which made his hands itchy for the past 2 days. How could he let go of an opportunity to kill a pirate now? Wait, I suspect that this is a plan by the Ziwei pirates to divert the tiger away from the mountain. The purpose is to lure us to the center of the town so that they can send someone to snatch Bartolomeo away. As the leader of the three Vice Admirals, Doberman once again displayed his impressive wit. Afterwards, Doberman looked at the messenger. How many Ziwei members are on the execution platform? I've only seen 3 so far, but their appearance is different from the photos on the reward order. Our captain first saw someone messing around on the execution platform, so he wanted to stop it, and then suddenly noticed the straw hat on the back of one of the teenagers, so the captain boldly guessed that the other party had changed his appearance in some way. After the messenger finished speaking, the three Vice Admirals fell silent. Bold guess? What the hell is your captain? If you dare to report the guesswork, aren't you afraid of being accused of lying about military information? When delivering the information before, the messenger seemed to have mentioned this captain, and the joke-like guess was the captain's thought. What's your captain's name? The Ghost Spider couldn't help asking. He wished he could kick the captain to death now. Yes. It's Lieutenant Finbuddy. The messenger's tone was uneasy, but he added, the captain is fully confident that the 3 are the crew members of the Ziwei pirates. The 3 Vice Admirals heard the words, but did not speak. If it is true as the messenger said, the appearance of the other party is different from the reward order, and all 3 of them are like this, then this is not a small problem. Once it is confirmed that the Ziwei pirates have the ability to change the appearance of their partners at will, it means that they are likely to lurk into Rog Town as a whole. Doberman and Huo Shaoshan were deep in thought, but the grumpy Ghost Spider suddenly attacked the case. What are you all struggling with? Is it necessary for the mere Ziwei pirates to be so serious? What is it to move the tiger away from the mountain? In the face of real strength, any conspiracy is nothing. I'll go to the execution platform, one of you will guard the branch, and the other will go to the town to search for traces of the Ziwei pirates. After the Ghost Spider finished speaking coldly, he left the meeting room straight away, obviously preparing to go to the center of the town. Seeing this, Huo Shaoshan shook his head. This guy is still as reckless as ever. Yeah, I don't know if this Ziwei pirates have some kind of physique that attracts hatred. After seeing it, Smoker went crazy and bit it, and now the Ghost Spider is the same. Doberman felt helpless. Now in many towns in East Blue, news of the appearance of the Avengers has spread, and many nobles have been assassinated while doing evil. Once this kind of behavior is rooted in the hearts of commoners or pirates, the noble class will be hit like never before. After the fermentation of the Goa Kingdom incident, the influence of the Avengers Alliance is spreading, and its believers are also constantly breeding. There are even many civilians or pirates pretending to be the Avengers, including the shadow of the Revolutionary Army. Although their job is just to control and prevent the remnants of the Avengers from escaping from East Blue, but for such a simple task, they haven't found a fully effective method yet. As a result, Smoker and Ghost Spider stared at a group of pirates whose average age was less than 1 year old. They originally planned to use Bartolomeo to lure the Z-Way pirates to take the bait, and then exchange the hostages for Smoker. Afterwards, they carried out the arrest operation again. If they could catch them, they would catch them all. If they couldn't catch them, they would at least save Smoker's life. As a result, if the Ghost Spider made such a fuss, if Z-Way and his gang tear up the ticket, their marine would lose a Logia fruit ability user. Tell me, does the Ghost Spider have a grudge against Smoker? Hua Xiaoshan asked. He's doing his own justice. Yeah, for a person who can even sacrifice himself for the sake of justice, it seems quite reasonable to sacrifice a colonel. Hua Xiaoshan's tone was sarcasm. Obviously he couldn't get used to the Ghost Spider for a long time. The most displeasing to the eyes of their doves are the Hawks, who act too aggressively and only think about eliminating pirates and gaining merits. Doberman heard the words, did not continue to discuss this topic. When Vice Admiral, the Ghost Spider, went to the center of the town, Tong Kong Yejli's Sinopharm work basically came to an end. At the same time, Sikong Yi also received a system prompt to complete the side mission, and chose the robotic arm as a reward. The robotic arm is not installed on the human body, but on the Emperor Star. The rewards this time are very versatile. Not only can you salvage some fish or treasures in the sea while diving, but they can also play an offensive and defensive role at critical moments. Captain, everything is ready, we can go to the branch to rescue Bartolomeo. Kuina bid farewell to Barto's grandmother, found Sikong Yi and Nuo Kagao who were waiting in the alley, and said calmly. Sikong Yi nodded and agreed. Okay, then let's go. Boom. Just as the group of three was about to leave, they heard a loud noise from the direction of the town center, and the three of them subconsciously looked in the direction of the sound source. It's a pity that only a puff of smoke and dust floating in the distance can be seen. Although he couldn't see it, Sikong Yi could roughly guess that this incident was related to the three of Luffy. Open black lens bracket group leader. At Sabo, what happened to you? Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket Sabo. At group master, captain, a burly man wearing a vice admiral uniform suddenly appeared and attacked Luffy. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket group leader. Is there only one vice admiral? What is the name of the vice admiral who attacked you? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Currently there is only one. I heard from many marines around me that this vice admiral seems to be called Ghost Spider. Close black lens bracket. After getting the number and name of marine vice admiral in the group chat, Sikong Yi frowned, even feeling extremely troubled. The Ghost Spider is a well-known representative of the Marine Hawks. If he played, then obviously the three of Luffy would not be easily let go. Hawks are all dogs, and how can dogs give up their prey so easily? The problem is that Bartolomeo is still in the prison of the Marine branch. If he wants to save Barto, no good, it is obvious that he cannot take care of Luffy. Master, I recently designed a new software called Live App. It can transmit what you see and hear to the internet through the user's retina and eardrum. At the same time, I have also improved the transmission functions of video, audio and images. All users can record information with the help of vision and hearing, but currently it can only be operated on the live broadcast app platform. It's a pity that the financial system has not been built yet, otherwise you can use vouchers for rewards. After listening to Venom's report, Sikong Yi felt that happiness came too suddenly, and he was worried that he would not be able to understand the situation on Luffy's side. This live broadcast app came just in time. Venom, you immediately hack into the internet of the three of Luffy, open the live broadcast app, register them as anchors, and transmit the video over there to me in real time. Wait. Sikong Yi suddenly remembered that the Ghost Spider was a representative of the Hawk faction, and he was ruthless, so maybe he could take the opportunity to make a fuss. Venom, you put the Luffy Trio's live broadcast on the top of the platform, and remind other users to watch it through the pop-up window mode. By the way, remember to record the screen. People in One Piece world have been fooled for too long, it's time for them to see the real face of this world. Chapter 160 Vice Admiral kills allies by mistake, the pirates clamor for revenge, put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Time went back to 30 minutes ago, Loguetown Center. Luffy, Ace and Sabo are standing on the execution platform at the moment. Wow, is this the last scenery that One Piece saw before he died? Straw Hat Jarhead Luffy looks into the distance, his little face is full of excitement. However, Ace's mood is completely opposite to that of Luffy, and the mood changes between the two are in stark contrast. Ace's thoughts at this moment are extremely complicated, because the man he hated in this life died here. Abandon wife and son. Abandon the crew. In the end, he surrendered himself in order to say those words before he died. What is the point of doing this? Ace's face was sullen, and he really wanted to ask Luo Jia why, but even if he was standing on the execution platform now, he didn't have the chance to ask. That hateful man, after attracting the hatred of the whole world, left with a smile, but he could only cry and be born. The evil blood flowing in his body made him hate himself and that man. Sabo, with shawl and yellow hair, saw Ace's extremely ugly face, knowing that the latter remembered something sad, so he silently comforted him. One Piece, I am determined. Luffy raised his hands and yelled, which attracted the attention of many townspeople, and even a few patrolling marines also noticed the movement on the execution platform, and rushed over to try to stop Luffy and others. Hey, Luffy, you will attract marine, Sabo couldn't help reminding. But how can I prove my determination if I don't shout twice on the execution platform of the One Piece King Luogia? Sabo. There is nothing to prove, One Piece is just the scum of the sea. Ace couldn't get used to Luffy's stupidity of always taking One Piece as his dream, so 233 immediately roared. You are talking nonsense, the One Piece is not a scum, he is the freest person in the sea, anyway, I want to be the One Piece. I'm not talking nonsense, One Piece Luogia is an out-and-out scum. No, you're talking nonsense, and oh, I have not. Ace and Luffy had a quarrel on the execution platform, and Sabo wanted to fight, but unfortunately both sides were iron-headed kids, so he didn't think it was his fault. Just then, a pink-haired man in the uniform of Captain Marine sneaked onto the execution platform. Taking advantage of the gap between the three arguing, he reached out and grabbed the unsuspecting Luffy, then put the clamp on the execution platform. Ace and Sabo saw that the situation was not good, but before they could react, they were kicked off the execution platform by the lieutenant. On the execution platform, Luffy, who was held tightly by the clamp, struggled desperately, but unfortunately, no matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't break free from the restraint. The jig is made of sea stone, so Luffy wilted within 2 seconds of jumping. Ha 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 ha. The devil Luffy is nothing more than that, in front of me, Iron Fist Fen Booty. You mere big pirate with a reward of 30 million can only be reduced to a prisoner? This lieutenant was none other than Finbuddy, the captain of the messenger who was in charge of passing the news to the 3 vice-admirals. Finbuddy is a self-proclaimed Iron Fist, who appeared in the Balati restaurant in the original book. Some time ago, Finbuddy was lucky to be transferred to Loguetown because the colonel of Loguetown was frightened and escaped by the Whitebeard pirates. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the rank to be the governor of Rog. It is precisely because of this that he particularly dislikes Smoker. Last time, he asked the messenger to pass information to the 3 vice-admirals, just to take the opportunity to impeach Smoker and then take the position himself. But even if Smoker is missing, the 3 vice-admirals have no intention of appointing him. This made Fen Booty understand that the only way to get the top position is to rely on meritorious deeds. So when he saw Luffy's straw hat, he recognized Luffy instantly, and even pinned the idea of obtaining meritorious service on Luffy's head. Colonel Smoker is lawless, even no match for a 10-year-old kid. I think it's better to let me be the manager of the East Blue Loguetown branch. That Smoker is simply a rookie. It's okay if you can't catch up with the captain of the Ziwei Pirates for a long time, but you were punched flying, and then disappeared after chasing him. It's just embarrassing for our marine. Look, guys, it's not so difficult to catch a few pirates. Watch me capture the devil Luffy alive in a second. Isn't it enough to have hands? Lieutenant Finbooty scolded Smoker for being unworthy, while bragging about how powerful he was, and even made a big deal for the townspeople of Loguetown, asking them to recommend him as a manager. Let go of me, Luffy yelled at Finbooty with all his strength. Let go of you. It's a good idea. How could Finbooty give up his hard-earned feats? It was indeed not easy, and he almost died of exhaustion when he crawled on the scaffold. The devil Luffy, he has committed a heinous crime. It just so happens that this is the execution platform, so I will execute you directly. Controlling the life and death of others gave Finbooty a feeling of power in his hands. He felt comfortable at ultimate, and immediately wanted to kill Luffy in front of the townspeople, regardless of whether he had the right to execute. Finbooty pulled out the standard long knife, his eyes full of jokes. Luffy, don't you really admire the One Piece King Luogia? I'll let you personally experience the feeling of Luogia being executed. I'm sure you will thank me, ha ha ha. No, Luffy responded stubbornly. It's a pity that Finbooty is not interested in continuing to talk nonsense with Luffy. All that needs to be said has been said, and then it is naturally time to show his mighty and imposing side. Swish. The hand rises and the knife falls. Luffy was decapitated, and his head and neck gradually separated. However, the head just fell and was in free fall, but it was firmly, caught by a hand. It wasn't someone else who caught Luffy's head, it was Luffy herself. When Finbooty saw that Luffy could still move freely after moving his head, he was so scared that 10 streams of warm liquid soaked his pants on the spot. But this was not over yet. He saw the headless Luffy who was not restrained by the clamp stood up, and the pothead holding the pothead in his right hand giggled. Thank you. If you hadn't cut off my head for me, I would still be trapped in it now. Luffy's thanks are very sincere, not deliberately ironic. It's just that Finbooty doesn't understand Luffy, and decides that Luffy is laughing at him. Finbooty gritted his teeth in anger, thank you for your head. But everyone who heard this thank you was petrified. You are a pig brain. It's obviously this person who trapped you in the jig, okay. But now you have to thank him in turn? And many more. Something seems wrong. Everyone immediately realized that this guy was fine after his head was chopped off. Ghost. Many townspeople under the execution platform yelled and were scared away on the spot. Sabo put his hand on his forehead, looked up at the naive boy on the execution platform, and felt the urge to punch him to death. The brain is a wonderful thing. Too bad Luffy didn't wow. Luffy put the head back on again, saw Fenbuddy peed his pants, and was just about to ask him if he felt uncomfortable when he heard a sound of breaking through the air behind him. Luffy turned to see a tempest kick coming at him. Second gear. Without any hesitation, Luffy cast the second gear in an instant, and his fist hit the slash like a cannonball. Thorn. Facing tempest kick, Luffy's fist was torn in half like a rag. The slash went straight to the chest along the right arm, splitting Luffy in two. The same fate happened to Luffy, and there was Lieutenant Finbuddy who was so frightened that he forgot to escape. Boom. The aftermath of the two figures being chopped rushed into a tavern under the execution platform, destroying an unknown number of tables, chairs and benches. The next moment, the tavern collapsed directly, causing a burst of smoke and dust. Many innocent drinkers were affected, resulting in varying degrees of injuries. Luffy stood up from the ruins, and Lieutenant Finbuddy didn't have Luffy's demon physique. After being divided into two parts, he was completely dead. Seeing this scene, Luffy's eyes were reddish, and he shot his gaze towards the execution platform. On the execution platform, a burly man with a ferocious expression was standing at the moment, wearing a marine uniform and a marine cloak. His majesty was incomparable. The devil Luffy seems to have an immortal physique, but I didn't expect it to be true. After the ghost spider murmured, his voice turned cold. Murdering Marine Lieutenant Finbuddy, Luffy, are you guilty? Huh? Luffy stared at the ghost spider like an idiot. Are you an idiot? You killed that lieutenant, but he is my benefactor. I will definitely beat you to the ground, because he will repay you. Luffy raised his fist to show his determination. Sabo and Ace didn't know what to say when they heard this sentence. Marine Vice Admiral killed one of his own people by mistake, but a pirate shouted for revenge? The point is, Marine Vice Admiral is clearly throwing the blame, but Luffy directly scolds him for being an idiot. Isn't a courting death? Being scolded as an idiot by an idiot, this wave of hatred is considered stable. Sure enough, the ghost spider's veins bulged at this moment, and its eyes were full of murderous intent. Damn Straw Hat Boy, you are dead. After finishing speaking, the ghost spider stopped talking nonsense, pulled out the two long knives around his waist, and slashed at Luffy. The sword energy was vertical and horizontal, cutting out two ravines on the ground under the execution platform. Luffy narrowly escapes, but the rest of the town suffers. Many townspeople were attacked by the aftermath of the sword energy and died on the spot. Some were missing arms and legs, howling in the ruins. Only some very lucky townspeople escaped the catastrophe. The next moment, the townspeople who reacted ran towards the outskirts of Loguetown, fearing that they would be affected by the aftermath of the battle.